we need to get on to Patron. Patron?
What's that?
Patron.
That's it.
What's that?
Patron. It's a I don't know how it works, you know.
I don't know.
Oh, my. He said, is it yours? That's what he asked you.
What do you mean? Just say no then. Blood clot.
It's yours.
Oh God.
I thought it was buddies all this time.
Brother, when do you ever see me with a rag? Bro,
It doesn't matter. I just thought it was yours. Sorry, bro.
it's not yours.
He was there.
Do you know,
he was sitting there.
do you know when you ask certain questions, like, I'm sitting there thinking to myself, if I was going to ask whose rag is it, I would have straight away said, citrus or Tongo. Only man, I'm never going to ask Ray. I'm never going to ask Wine. It's either one of you twos. Oh, it's no one. It's none of us. Because
Lordy me. As an old Caribbean man, it is my duty to walk with a rag because I know I get hot, I know I sweat.
there we go.
So I just need to just dab. Do you know what I mean?
That's what he needed to do earlier on when he walked in.
Sometimes I've seen you do the whole wipe.
Everything.
Yeah.
I don't even use little rags no more. I use babies' towels. You know, newborn babies' towels are the perfect size and they've got the absorbency. It just deals with everything. Yeah, bro.
When you see that in effect, you know it's time. innit?
Problems. It's on my head as well. Matting.
Yes.
Why
yes,
mad,
man.
DJ?
Very mad. But this is the empty podcast. But before we get into the main crux of it, I didn't even ask the Rainman who wasn't here last time if he's got any roundup. Any form of a roundup.
You look okay with this one. You lot tell me when to stop because there's nothing.
It's literally going to be a...
He said that every week.
Yeah, but there's nothing in that squanning. And you know what? I had stuff from. There's stuff that I should mention, but because it's almost old, it doesn't make sense mentioning it. But if we run out of stuff, which we won't, then I'll mention it. I'm going to start with DJ AG, Will Smith, King's Cross. Anyone see that?
Yeah.
Yes.
I heard about it, never saw it.
You haven't seen it yet.
Yeah, I saw it.
I
I
saw
only saw it today about an hour ago. So to be fair.
So Will Smith was over. Jamelia was down there, and Rita Ora. But from the point of this guy, literally just started by bringing turntables out on road and bringing whoever on to having Will Smith, arguably. Well, at one point, he was one of the biggest stars in the world. You know what I mean? Now, maybe he still is. There's a lot of people down there. I think it's the most amount of people that I've seen. I didn't go down there
Didn't
personally.
you have Sierra down there the other week?
Yeah, last week.
Yeah.
And Ed Sheeran.
Ed Sheeran. But everyone's popping up. Like,
He had Slick Rick in Camden.
That's mad.
And a lot of people didn't even know who Slick Rick was, which was mad.
But it's not. It's just that's
Just the times, isn't it?
Yeah, it's a sign of the time. Like I just think like he ultimately is putting on free concerts for the people. Them like how many people? Like one of my friends. So I've got two guys I went to university with. They're twins, Ilamadi and Boy Wonder.
Yes,
they are. They are 90s people.
Yes.
Like they are still living in them. One's got the step in his head. The other one dresses like he's from that time. They met, one of the brothers was down there. He met his hero. I don't think I'd be starstruck meeting Will Smith, but I would have liked to have met Will Smith, you know what I mean, or seen him in person. I think this guy, not whatever he's doing, the stuff that he's doing, he's just doing things and just helping a lot of people, man. I've got to just say respect to him, man. Just got to say respect to him.
Yeah, indeed. How long before you think people start to try and, because you know how things are, you get up, they start to try and bring you down. How long before they try and do that?
So there's been a few incidences, like if you follow his channel, where there were a few women trying to twerk on the channel, and he's literally just pushing them out, saying, "Nah, you're going to shut down my thing." Yeah. Because TikTok, TikTok won't allow it.
They probably can allow it, but he's got to a certain
point
stature. If he loses the channel, he's got to start from one again. You know what I mean?
Right.
So, and I don't blame him. Like it's not. His thing is that, like, he takes his thing and goes into old people's homes and does DJ sets in old people's homes for free.
That's what I heard.
I watched it just to entertain them. So for him to lose that channel where you've got, I don't know, Mabel, who is in an old people's home in Daventry, and then you've got King's Cross and he's doing things in Brixton with Ragarugi, like he's traversing barriers, you know what I mean? Like, it'll be interesting. I think and he doesn't do anything for profit, I don't think. But it'll be interesting if he put on a rave how many people, and if he said, right, I'm doing a rave, the tickets are £5, what venues would give it to him for free? Because he probably donate all the money for charity. But I think it's a good cause. Like he is a good cause. He's a good cause. Moving on, did anyone hear about the physics teacher, Kirsty Buchanan?
No.
Right. So Kirsty Buchanan was a physics teacher in Scotland. So she was dismissed from her position as a teacher because the students found out that she had an OnlyFans in 2022 to 2023. She did it because she needed to earn a little extra cash. Teachers' salaries are not great. She did it, and they dismissed her. What's your thoughts on that? I'll tell you how much she earned per. Well, I think.
Do you know what was she doing on the OnlyFans?
She was doing OnlyFans stuff.
So we sort of touched on. If you remember, we touched on this slightly when we was talking about Lily. Is it Lily Phillips? Yeah. And we were saying about what would happen with her in the future. Like if she now wanted to get away from that, that would always be there. I suppose this is the signpost for things that are never forgotten on the internet. You can't get away from things like that. So that for me is the teachings of that. Is that yes, she would have got money from it, but it's never erased.
You hear the joke, and I'm guessing Rain will come on to the figures. She probably earned more from the OnlyFans than she would from her salary.
So then why go back to teaching?
Because it's a respectable thing in society.
So this is the thing. So then you would know you're going back into the environment where that's likely to come up.
Well,
it's a problem.
Well, to be fair, we're not here to judge that.
I'm not judging it. I'm saying I'm not judging it, to be clear, but I'm saying that is the outcomes that you can expect.
I mean,
what you do with that is up to you, but you can expect it's going to happen.
We could expect. So if someone lived a life and have educated themselves, got themselves out of whatever position they were in before, and now are living a new life, and you're saying, because of your past, we're going to fire you.
No, I don't agree with that. What I'm saying is that you can't get rid of the internet.
It's not about. It
sounds like you are though.
I'm not. No. What I'm saying is, as a judgment call, it's not the right judgment call to sack her. But I'm saying that all of us here, we're all on a permanent thing. I think Rain said it years ago that this is going to be something that his son can look back and say, this is a record of him in it. It's a timestamp of us at this time. So we would know in 30 years' time, whatever we're doing, someone will always find the empty podcast and say, oh, that's Wiley, that's Rain, that's Tongo, that's Citrus, that's Buddy, and be able to know this is what we did.
They won't recognise Sirelli. I get it.
But what you're saying is if this stops us from doing something in the future, all right,
if you get a job in the future and they're like,
oh, you had a podcast and you said X, Y, and Z. We can't have you.
I'm saying you have to know it's a possibility that could be something that happens, and you got to be able to ride that.
So what do you do in that?
You have to be able to ride it.
So for example, what I was going to say is Body Blue got a blue Ferrari. They made a custom-made blue Ferrari for her. All right,
it was someone else's.
Was it someone else's?
Yeah, and when she went to buy it, she realised that it wasn't brand new.
Oh, see. But yeah, that's side note. Yeah. But you know, I mean, she's made money off of it. You know what I mean? She's made more than what certain teachers are getting paid. Now she's saying to herself, or whoever it is, saying, you know what? I want to now be a teacher. This is what I want to do with my life. I've done that. I don't want to do it. I don't like it. Whatever else not. I'm moving on. Why should she now be judged on her past? Do you know what I mean? What you do in your past, what you do in your past. When you go to prison and you come out of it, it's your past, and you're reformed. You're supposed to be able to move forwards in life.
Sorry, can I ask? Did you say she was doing it as a side
hustle because she wasn't earning?
To her teachers, she was doing it while she was a teacher.
Yeah, she was doing it right. So
that's why she got sacked.
So she earned £60,000 over the 2 years.
That's why she would have got sacked.
How it got found out? This is apparently one of the parents.
Had to be a dad, though, innit? Why?
I said parents. One of the parents found it and then shared it with their kid, who then shared it with
in the playground.
What? Remember, it's physics, so it's going to be it'll still be a playground there. But so that's how it all got out. So that's why it was a bit. I don't know. Like my thought on it is this.
Imagine, Dad, how did you find this?
Questions. Why did the dad share it? What did he share?
How's the child?
I don't know. So I don't know.
That's all mad. Like,
I don't know. But all right, swiftly moving on. Today's a big day. It's Bounty Killer's birthday.
He should have known that, innit?
Just a quick one. What's your favourite Bounty Killer tune?
Look Into My Eyes.
Look Into My Eyes.
I don't know.
I don't know. I don't know. There's too many.
Yeah, I'll give you that one.
There is,
sure.
but
Eagle and the Hawk. I'll give you that one. Eagle and the Hawk.
I like going for stuff that isn't so
Mainstream.
mainstream.
Tongo.
I ain't got
East
one. So
Indian.
don't ask me.
Ooh, okay. And you ain't got one?
I ain't got one.
Mine, Riding West. But anyway.
Riding West, yeah.
LA protests.
Yeah.
So this is, we won't go too deep in it. So ultimately, if you don't know, the LA are rioting, not rioting,
Because of the
sorry, that's
schools?
wrong. Not the schools, it's about the immigration.
Immigration, yes.
Yeah,
so they went into, so there was a parents' evening.
Right, yep.
Or a teacher, a parent, like some form of play. There was a play on. So the parents came down to watch the kids at the play,
Performance,
as you would do.
Yep.
While this has gone on,
Missing.
the immigration came.
ICE.
Yeah. Came, stormed the school. There was a helicopter above. Some of the parents
Helicopter.
left and left their youth in the school. Just like, yo,
Lot of mercy.
you got your stay in it. I'm bouncing, and ran out and left the kids. And there was I don't know if it was
wild.
a teacher or a support worker, some black guy. He walked out the school when he was on live, and he was talking about. He goes, it's one of the worst things that he's seen. Like the kids are crying out for their parents,
And they're gone.
and the parents are just like, look, I will come back and find you, but for now.
So this is like, it's a mad one because...
Sorry, the head teacher knew.
That they
This
were
was
coming?
the other
I
thing.
didn't know that.
The head teacher knew that ICE were coming and didn't say anything.
So I think the protests are because people are being stripped away from their families and whatnot. So they're out there protesting. They're not rioting as yet. I think there has been some segregated violence, but cars.
There was a TV reporter that got shot with rubber bullets in it.
That's what I was going to come on to. So them American police are trigger happy. When you look at them, when you watch the footage, when you look at them and look in their eyes, there was one of them who was standing there, like no one's doing nothing. Everyone, they're doing the kumbaya, sit down.
Yep.
He's got his machine out ready to lick someone down.
Yep.
And one of them shot a reporter with a rubber bullet, like from where producer is to where I am, baff. She's live on air.
Live on air.
She's live on air.
Live
Not
on
even
air.
10 meters. It's like,
Bang! In the
7
leg.
meters.
She started barred. Camera cut.
Mad. Shouldn't laugh. but-
Just very quickly on that though, there's a flip side of the story that's saying that what we're seeing being reported isn't as it is over there. Like it's been exaggerated. Apparently, it's been exaggerated, and a lot of
said that?
people.
Trump.
No, Trump has said that, but according to some people over there, they're also saying that.
Wiley,
So,
have you got a handle on that new channel called The Truth?
the truth?
Yeah.
Buddy.
Isn't that Trump's? No, Trump's
No, it's called
Truth?
Oh, I can't remember, but he's got his
Truth
own
Network, ain't
He's
it?
got his own. He's got his own Twitter
Oh,
thing.
yeah,
Yeah.
Well, that's when he got kicked off, isn't it? He created his own.
Created his own.
Yeah, his own one.
Yeah. I don't know, but anyway, where should I go? I'm gonna stay with America. Coco Gauff.
Yes, off the
The tennis player. So she won the French Open. During the match, there was elements of racism, and I'm going to go out there and say that when I say elements of racism, they wanted the other girl to win. Now, you could say that they were just her supporters. I just don't think so. Anyway, after my girl won, the loser came out and said, "Oh, she won because
I was making mistakes.
I was making mistakes."
And even worse, she said that the person who lost, was it in the semi-final?
Yeah.
If she'd have got through to the final, she'd have beaten her.
Yes,
She said that?
Yes,
That's
she
what
said
she
that.
said.
And she said, I can't remember. I think she did say, she used the phrase "someone like her" in reference to Coco. Now, this woman has got anger issues. There was videos of her smashing her racket, shouting at people when she lost. But I personally think, look, I'm probably going to get slated on wherever we post this. I just think she's a racist and didn't want to lose to a black person.
No, you see the anger bit, right? The one thing I would
I'm a sore
stick up
loser.
for her.
I'm a sore
No,
loser.
it's not even so much that a lot of tennis players have it. It's within a lot of them. It's how they whack up their racket. So I'm not going to sit there and say their reason is racism because of that. I won't put that as a thing. All right. The other side of what you just said, I didn't hear the interviews. But if that is what
she got her ass handed to her on Twitter, and then came out the next day having to retract certain statements, make an apology.
That's not right. As a sports person, racist nothing to do with race.
It was the angle, or the direct angle wasn't racism.
Racist, yeah.
It was saying you're a sore loser.
Yes.
Like give the plaudits to the champion who beat you. Do you get what I mean? Regardless how it goes down.
No,
in the record books, my name's got the W, your name's got the L.
And she was losing at some point in the match as well. She came back from behind.
I don't know
to win the final. You know,
Coco won.
Yeah,
no one does that. No one sits there and in that sport as well. And where it sits, it's not one of those ones where people come out and they're trying to say, "Oh, yeah, they only won because I had a bad day. Otherwise, I'd beat them because they're crap." Yeah, it's not.
Well. If you look at, I think it's Serena Williams. She was being interviewed on a podcast, and she said something along the lines of, "When reporters ask you questions, there's almost like a script that you respond to say, yeah, my opponent played really well, but you know, I think I was just better on the day." And she was like, really? I beat her 6-0, 6-love. You know what I mean? She never had a chance, but you can't say that. Do you know what I mean? On the TV.
But then what it was is that when the reporter said, "Oh, my girl made these comments about you," Coco was kind of like, "Oh, that's not really fair to say because I beat you last time."
Yeah. But she also said
the girl that lost the semi-final, I also beat her last time.
Good.
Right. So even if she would have got through to the final, I would have beat her anyway because I beat her last time. But it's funny with those. If you look at it, with the prestige sort of sports like golf, motor racing, sports where money is behind people getting into those positions, traditionally, there's always a slight tinge of if anybody is coming from a different background other than the traditional ones that are there, they automatically get some sort of a negative angle. That happened with Lewis Hamilton, happened with the Williams sisters, happened with Tiger Woods.
Happened in Cool Runnings.
It's Cool Runnings. Massive.
I'm going to move quickly on. Just your comments. So R. Kelly has made a plea to Donald Trump to give him a pardon to get him out of prison.
Russ.
He said,
his lawyer has said this on R. Kelly's behalf because he is in danger where he is, as in prison. But I heard R. Kelly's DJing songs in there and all sorts.
Yeah.
Tory Lanez is in danger as well, but I mean, I've seen him ask for a pardon.
He got stabbed up, innit?
Yeah. What's your thoughts on R. Kelly? And,
to be
and
fair,
that?
Tory Lanez has his dad and his court team have asked for a pardon. R. Kelly just needs to be moved to a different prison. If he's that in danger, move to a different prison, innit?
But would he be in the same danger in any prison?
Isolated, whatever it is, at the end of the day, he can't be pardoned. No way, can't be pardoned.
You can't say that. You can't say that.
I think
I mean is, my opinion, he cannot be pardoned.
He shouldn't be pardoned.
Yeah, he shouldn't be.
But this is America.
And this is Trump.
This is America.
Trump is pardoned.
You have to do the ticket.
Oh dear.
Love Island has started. Does anyone care?
Our regular Love Island pundit has got something to say, I'm sure.
I was going to move on, but are you watching it?
Move on.
I mean, I've seen it. I know it's on.
It only started the other day. So that means you're watching it.
Yeah, but I'm not paying. I'm watching, but I'm not paying a lot of attention to it. It's this there.
Let's just move on, bro.
One thing I did find out about it, which I found was interesting. Apparently, a former Tottenham footballer
is supposed to go on there.
He's meant to be going on there as a bombshell, as a contestant. I don't understand it. This guy has only recently. Is it in the last? Is he even retired?
No, I don't know if he's even
Yeah,
retired.
it is.
Yeah,
Emerson
Emerson.
Royal. Emerson Royal.
Yeah, he's
exactly.
Tottenham.
So I'm trying to understand how
West
would
Ham.
he be going on to that? But then I remember Patrice Evra was on something
The other day,
recently as well. So
But
I don't know what's going on.
The funniest thing is, a little slight insight to it, but they've got like, it feels like they've got a roadman on there at the moment, right? He walked in yesterday.
I haven't seen it.
Nah, like, I'm not paying attention. But wait,
Yesterday, his name's Daryl.
the roadman walked in there. But the way he kind of come in, it's just like, it's quite funny actually. I think they made a couple memes on Instagram about it recently. It's actually quite funny because he's coming there on a like this attitude thing. So I kind of now, it's kind of made me want to say, let me see what else you do, because you seem like you're gonna have this no holds barred thing.
What I'm gonna say, I think because of what the topic can do, I think you should give us an update on it when we come back.
Weekly update,
not a weekly update.
Weekly update.
And you get 30 seconds to tell us what's going on, just so we can have a comment on it.
I'm up for that.
I'm up for that.
There'll be some jokes.
Do we want a? Actually, I'm gonna go for it. Ashton Hall. Does anyone know who he is?
The fitness guy.
So well,
Lost the IShowSpeed.
He was a man. Just here's the thing.
Very
So
well.
he was a I think he
Personal
was
trainer.
a college football player. Then went semi-pro. Then he was a personal trainer and then went viral recently, from what I know, about his morning routine. So he put the lemon in the water, the ice, dip his face in there, and then all that kind of thing. Yeah. So he
And he done a run with DJ Khaled the other day.
yeah. So what it is, he always does these runs and it looks like he's in a movie, but it's always slow motion. So he challenged IShowSpeed.
Oh, is it the same guy that running with the dogs?
I was about to say that. You know?
The black guy.
Okay.
The dense black guy. I
Yeah.
didn't realize it was the same person.
Me neither.
Oh,
It's funny that you say that. I mean, yeah.
So he looked like he can tear in it and he's running. So he offered out IShowSpeed. IShowSpeed is a social media influencer, does a lot of craziness, but in fairness, does a lot of good stuff.
He bust now, innit?
Yeah, he's gone. 40 million people follow his channel and all that kind of stuff.
He's fun.
But he raced IShowSpeed. So who, from the physique, the IShowSpeed, probably, well, no one in here, maybe producer, that kind of physique. Ashton Hall, you know what he looks like. So who would you thought would have won?
I don't know what Aston Hall looks like.
Because
But I think IShowSpeed.
I would have expected him to win.
I would have thought Ashton Hall, because he was an ex-player, he's fit, doing all
Keeps
that kind of
himself
stuff.
up.
Yeah.
How long was it?
Man
How
of
far was it?
disrespect.
Over 40 meters.
That man of disrespect, speed. He's actually quite
quick.
fast. Do you know what I mean? He had a race with Jamie Carragher. Jamie Carragher did well with him, but he was ramping him. But he's quick. He's actually quick.
So what happened on the day? They raced once. He beat him, and he was
Nearly fell on his face, innit?
No, he did fall on his face. And when he was beating him, he said,
saying,
"You're slow, bro.
yeah.
You're slow." So he said, "Nah, man. This, that, the other. Let's race again." So he raced him again.
Beat him again.
Beat him again. So then he said, "Nah, man. You didn't win because of this, that, the other." So he
went
said,
from
"What?"
concrete.
He said, "I'll race you again." So he raced him a third time. Beat him again. Man, so this is the man that everyone's looking to be like this kind of vision of perfection, excellence, like I'm this confident, I can do that. He's begging the man on IShowSpeed's live, 40 million people, and he lost. Then IShowSpeed walked off. And he said to IShowSpeed, "Oh, you're a coward," or something like that. "You got to race me again because it wasn't a proper win." He said, then I'm going to race you again. And then beat him again.
Four
times.
4 times in the same day.
Tried to call it a tie. innit?
In the same day. It wasn't a tie. In the same day. So any ratings that people may have for this shoot in regards to that athleticism that he's trying to pull off, you got to dash that away.
No, I disagree with that. You can't take it away because a man beat him. A man beat him because he's faster than him. And that's fine, isn't it? Do you know what I mean? You can't.
IShowSpeed's not an athlete.
But he's fast, bro.
It doesn't matter.
You
He's
could
not
be
an athlete.
naturally fast,
This
bro.
man has made a living
Doesn't
from
matter.
being in peak fitness.
Sorry.
IShowSpeed was in China 2 months ago eating noodles with certain man that, you know what I mean?
You know, certain man them are just naturally gifted, right?
Not even that alone. You can't call a man out and lose 4 times.
No, I mean, you
You can't call a man out and lose 4
He
times.
blew through his yard. He came through the door in his house.
But
He
did
came
he-
through his
long thing.
house.
So Ashton offered IShowSpeed out.
Yes.
For this,
And then flew to his house.
and got embarrassed.
And got embarrassed.
He flew to his
Got
house.
embarrassed.
They went
Mad.
out in the road and raced and he lost 4
Listen,
times.
that happened to me, you know, with my stepson.
He lost 4 times? Oh.
You know when they're little, you're running and you're doing the little you're running and you're laughing at them when they're behind you. Until he started to get older now and quicker. The day he beat me in a race, I said, "That's the last time I'm
I
racing you."
beat him up. On that day, I just punched him up because you still need to know the hierarchy is still the hierarchy. Nothing changes.
Listen, the racing thing done now. The racing thing done now.
Just beat him up.
Long done.
Right. I'm going to do one more. Kind of actually, no, I'm going to go with this one. So Portugal and Ronaldo won the, what was it called? The UEFA Nations League.
Yeah.
Who is the GOAT, Messi or Ronaldo?
Messi.
Ronaldo.
Raw,
shut up.
raw.
Ronaldo.
Messi.
He doesn't even come close to me.
Right. Why?
There's so much. His accolades are untouchable. Like, he won a World Cup. Before he even says anything about his
he
trophies,
didn't
he
win
won
it.
a World Cup, bro.
He
Nah,
didn't
just
win it.
keep that
He didn't
quiet.
win it. Carry on.
He won a World Cup. He won a World Cup.
He was in a team that won the World Cup.
All right,
Ronaldo was close to getting 1,000 career goals.
Yeah, and Messi has done probably everything. He's done everything and more than what Ronaldo's done in the
he
football
hasn't.
game. Yes, he has.
I'm not even going to make it. I'm not going to make an argument, right?
Who's won more Ballon d'Ors?
Do you know what the problem with Ballon d'Ors are?
Here we go.
No.
Look, they robbed Thierry Henry, so don't
if
talk
the
to me
people
about
if the people that are voting for it are saying, do you know what? I'm just going to support my boy.
But
Who are you going to vote for, Buddy or side eye guy?
Well,
Buddy, obviously.
one more
Yo,
Ballon
man, them,
d'Ors,
we're all
he's won more trophies, and
we're
he's won the pinnacle.
all voting for Buddy, right? Cool. The difference is, and I take the reason why I rate Ronaldo higher is, number one, he was talented, but had flaws. My man worked on every one of his flaws and perfected it to the best possible way he could.
Free kicks, dribbling, skills,
everything. Then, on top of that, tested himself in Portugal, then went to the UK, then went to Spain, then went to Italy, then went to
Then
Saudi.
came back to England.
Came back to England.
Back to England.
Back to England, yeah, sorry. Came back to England. And
Did
then,
he do great then?
it doesn't matter.
No.
But then, went over to Saudi. Now, Messi stayed in Barcelona,
Went to
didn't
Paris
want to
Saint-Germain.
leave. He didn't go to Paris Saint-Germain, was pushed out to Paris Saint-Germain, right? Went there, had probably one of the best front threes ever in football. They didn't even smash it. Do you get what I'm saying?
He won everything bar the UEFA Champions League. Carry on.
They didn't even smash it.
Won everything bar the Champions League, but carry on.
So they didn't win the Champions League.
That's the only thing he won.
The best attacking team in the world couldn't win the Champions League. It's fine.
Won a World Cup though.
So went there. That didn't really work out to what the expectations were. That PSG are now a super billionaire team and they're going to do everything. No, you're not. So then after that, you've gone over to the MLS and
What's funny?
Just coaching in. I'm going to finish. Just coaching in the MLS. And the thing is, you can have all these accolades. The difference is, if I see you drag your team, and we win because of you, respect.
He's never done that.
Bad. What's wrong with you?
But you're saying he's never done it.
So what part of the podcast is it where you're allowed to talk without having a buddy Tongo?
So,
Tongo,
in the air?
not bring Tongo.
Do you get what I'm saying?
so
Buddy and Tongo, I meant to say.
from my perspective,
Yeah.
I've got Ronaldo slightly higher than Messi. I never had Messi slightly. I had Messi above before. It's now swung because I think Ronaldo. The thing for me for Ronaldo, longevity of age. Of performing at the level he's performing at still. Is he 40 or 41 now? 40. It's ridiculous. Ridiculous. Unheard of. I don't think he's the GOAT though. I think they're in a stratosphere of their own. They're above Zidane, but they're below Maradona. They're below Ronaldinho for me. They're below Pele for me.
Do you know what?
That's for me. That's my own personal perspective. I think that it's a different age, and in fact, Ronaldinho's slightly below them for longevity. But in terms of best ever, I don't think you can go below Maradona or Pele. I don't think you can. Never seen nothing like what Maradona was like on a football pitch ever. And Messi not even
What
close.
was Maradona's longevity?
Don't matter.
How long was
Bad
Maradona
man.
at the
That's
top?
what he was.
Here's the thing.
Bad man.
How long was he at the top?
How long was Maradona at the top?
How long was he at the top?
From 78 to about
78.
From 78. When he came through in Argentina's first team, from about 78, I believe it was, 78 or 82 World Cup.
92.
90.
To about
it
92.
wasn't 78.
Well, it might maybe if it wasn't 78. If it wasn't 78, it was the.
That- you're
if it
putting
wasn't,
him
hold on
at
one
you.
second. Let me answer then. If it wasn't 78, it was the 82 World Cup. 86 was not his first World Cup.
Go on.
So from that period, because he broke the world record for transfer fees twice. He broke it when he went to Barcelona. Then he broke it when he went to Napoli. So you're talking about someone who, from my mind's eye, even though he's had less of a longevity than Maradona, than Messi and Ronaldo, Maradona's impact on football at that time,
If you drag a team,
what he did as a
It's
footballer,
like how they are now.
No.
Get out of there. Do you know what? Sometimes
But
I just listen
anyway,
to these
but anyway.
football arguments, right? I've got to speak because them two had their little paragraph.
You got 10 seconds.
Nah, it's not
All
worth
right,
it.
cool.
It's not enough. It's not enough
There
for
was
me
a plane
to
crash
speak.
today.
Oh wow!
someone survived.
You man just ruined the thing.
Sorry.
Terrible, isn't it?
Go on.
It was in India, right?
Oh jeez and peas.
Yeah.
Man,
Man, just imagine the plane land, look around, everyone dead, and you're like,
Right, so the plane was taking off coming to Gatwick. The plane should have landed about 2 hours ago. Today is Thursday the 16th, 17th? What's today?
No, today's the 12th.
12, sorry, I'm in the future. Anyways, it should have landed 2 hours ago. The plane took off and then crashed. I think there was 250 odd people on the plane. One person survived.
British national.
British national. Yeah, he's
National.
British. Yeah. So he's
Was it-
British. From Leicester.
So just a passenger.
Huh?
It was just a passenger.
Was he a pilot? Was he a
Passenger was a
yeah.
crew.
No, he was just a normal man that bought his ticket coming back.
Oh,
to
he was
England.
the passenger.
Passenger, that's what I
Okay,
meant.
cool.
Yeah, exactly. So it just died. But I just think, like,
It took off from where? It took off from
It took off
Gatwick.
from it. No, it took off from India coming to
Coming
Gatwick.
to Gatwick.
Yeah.
That's something I thought you said.
It's just mad. Like, what
Do you know
goes
what you
through
want to
your
think?
mind?
What seat number was he in?
11A.
Right.
Right.
So here's the thing. I live, my mum's flats, there's a neighbour there, he's written a book. He was in a plane crash that crashed in the sea. We took off, I think, in Kenya or something. And it's had adverse effects on his mental health because, unfortunately, you go through something like that,
Never get
yeah,
it.
you're alive, but the effect it has on you, yeah, mate, it's not easy. You start to question, why am I still here? All sorts of things. Yeah, man, it's mad. But glad to hear he survived, but unfortunately, the souls of those be rest in peace.
You say glad he survived, and that like you got to think the horror that he saw when that plane crashed. Remember, the plane crashed and exploded. The man was there's a
Was
video
it,
of him.
it crashed on the ground, in the airport,
Or in the sea?
He crashed in the air.
sea. No, you know what I mean? I mean, like, the sea, like, the kind of thing.
It crashed on the ground.
Okay.
To the point where to the point where this guy who survived actually got out the plane or the wreckage and walked off.
Jesus Christ.
Mad.
That's an angel, man.
Mad. Boy, it's something, innit? Someone's looking
Well,
after
he
him
went
or
traveling with
something.
nobody.
Well, he does a fool. No, his brother was on the plane. Brother dead.
Oh, jeez. Oh.
Mad. But anyway,
Yeah.
that's the range roundup. There is another one which I'll bring into the next topic.
It's funny because the podcast this week we're talking about how's your mental health, and that ties right into it. But this is the Empty Podcast. Myself, Mr Wileycat DJ, and next to me we have
Rain.
No, before we get to Rain, we got an empty space because
That's what you want to say.
Sirelli's not here.
No.
Shout goes out to Sirelli.
No,
It's
shout
not slightly
shout
broken.
goes out to Sirelli, but it's not even Sirelli. If you remember the last podcast, we did say we're going to have DJ Longers here, and there was a query about if Nigeria beat Jamaica and him attending. Unfortunately, DJ Longers couldn't attend, but I think it's because he didn't want to attend because of the game personally. That's what I think. But anyway, shouts out to DJ Longers. Next to the empty space we have.
I'm not doing it again because I put my hand up and you stopped my flow. So you might just go to Citrus.
Yeah, yo.
Ruined the whole thing.
This is Citrus in the house and we're running the show.
And next to him we have.
Man like Tongo, you're done now.
And last but not least we have.
You got buddy. Let's just go. I can't do
No
it. You
truth,
mash up
no
the whole
nothing.
team. Yeah, you mash up the whole team.
Wow,
Man.
you know, the two Jamaicans got that vex. Wow. Anyway, let me get into the podcast.
I'm a Jamaican, never got back.
Yes, I know.
Man,
But we won't.
man said you were full Jamaican. When you work in the room.
Might weren't calling you a full Jamaican earlier. You know? I'm not going to say who, buddy, but might work. But this is the Empty Podcast, and this week's topic is simply entitled, How is your mental health? Mental health. Now, the viewpoint being, last month was Mental Health Month. This week is Men's Health Week. So, tying everything all together, it's interesting. We were just talking about the plane crash and how that can affect people's mental health. Just generally, how do we all feel? How's everyone's health? Generally.
What a wide question.
Wide
But we can
wide
answer
question.
it. Look, my health is good, and you know what it is. My mental health is good. Mental health is like your physical health. Like, you know, like certain times you might wake up with a bit of a back pain, or you slept bad and you got a pain in your shoulder or whatever. Mental health is quite the same. Like, you have a barometer of mental health, and let's just say tip-top mental health is 100%. Everybody will go through dips in their mental health. It might go to 80, 75. If you're really unfortunate, it might get down to like a 50, 25, 10, you know what I mean? So when people, like, what frustrates me is that when people say, when they mention mental health, I think people have to think of it as, right, we all have mental health, but the day might decrease your mental health. So think of it as 100% percentage. So the question, if you was talking about mental health, would be, from a percentage point of view, where would you say your mental health is today? And if I was to answer that question, I'd probably say probably about 90%.
What about your physical health? Just in the same vein. What about your physical health?
That's the wrong team.
If you're measuring it the same way, numbers wise.
My physical health, I reckon, would probably be about 80.
Okay. Citrus. Using that same barometer.
Using the same barometer. My mental health, I would say, is probably around 70. Physical health is probably around 70 as well.
Okay.
I'd pitch them both around 70.
Okay. Tongo?
Mental, probably 65, 70. Physical, about 55.
Bro.
Okay. Okay, buddy?
75, 75.
75. I'd say about 75 mental health, about 70 physical health. The reason why I'm asking that question about all of us around here is to try and work out how do we feel about ourselves, and when we don't feel 100% or we don't feel at tip-top shape, how do we recognize that? What do we do about it? Do we go doctors? Do we decide to talk to somebody? What do we do?
So you're saying, what do we do if we feel like our percentage basically dips?
We're all not at 100%. We've all acknowledged we're all not, whether it's physical, mental, we're all not at 100%. What do we do to get ourselves back to 100%, and how do we maintain that?
I mean, we've spoken about it a few times on the podcast, but I've said several times, sometimes it's about talking. If you're talking about mental health, it's about talking. If you're talking about physical health, then it's also about going to the gym, doing exercises, walks, runs, do you know what I mean? Playing a sport, an activity, do you know what I mean? So, I suppose the question needs to be framed a little bit better.
No. You see how you're answering it? Leads exactly to what I'm after. Go on.
Yeah, but yeah, it's like, I mean, I know how I deal with. Those are the way that I would deal with it. So when you're saying that, when we're going to talk about a percentage, like what Rain was saying earlier on, you can't, like you said, it changes day to day. So I could sit there and say to you, tomorrow I'm gonna be at 100%. Why? Because I got this going on. I'm doing this. I'm going out here. I'm doing that. Blah 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 blah. Great. But then during that time, it could start to dip, and so on and so forth. So I thought Rain's explanation was actually quite good to say what percentage, because it varies. I mean, I said 75. I could sit there and say to you, you know what, today I'm probably more even at a 95, to be fair. Like nothing's troubling me mentally at the moment. So it just changed.
So as a physical thing though, you were saying the gym, training, etc. Interesting. Tongo.
First of all, I don't think mentally you could be 100%.
Okay.
Because life don't stop and things are always happening. So I don't think mentally you can ever be at 100%. Physically, you can, I think. However, for the same reasons about life and anything can happen at any given time, I think you're not at 100 a lot of the time.
Can I make a statement on what you just said? That kind of troubled me. It's a very negative way of looking at life. To ever say that you'll never reach 100% of anything. Do you know what I mean? Like, no matter even if, I mean, I probably might not, I never even want to put it out there, but I don't think I'd ever make to be a billionaire, all right? However, I'll never sit there and say, I don't think I can make it. Potentially I could. So you saying nobody's ever going to make 100% on a mental scale, I think to myself, well, why could I not be in a very positive light today? Why not?
Okay.
So answering that question in Tongo.
Let me finish what I was saying and then maybe make more sense. The reason I said that I don't think you could ever be 100% is because, all right, if you, for example, you went to go check your car a minute ago, yeah? If you went there and it was broken into because you forgot to lock it, your mental health wouldn't be 100%, even though you might have been happy-go-lucky skipping there on the way there. That's what I mean. Things happen so instantaneously and we ourselves get ourselves stressed out about the smallest things.
But that doesn't necessarily have to dip my mental health.
Yes, but it does. Because if you're feeling stressed out or annoyed or under pressure or upset about something, you're not 100% because you're feeling down.
It depends on how you deal with it.
But then also, before...
But you might fix it for a brief moment, but maybe I should say that you won't be at a constant 100% then.
Okay.
So
maybe that's what I mean.
Yeah,
that's what I mean.
Okay, so that was going to come into my point because you were saying that if your car gets broken into, your percentage of your mental health goes down. For example, last week, Friday, was the Euro Millions draw. I think it was 200 and something million. Yeah. I then did a Euro Millions.
Oh, yeah.
Yesterday, I think it was yesterday, it came up, you've won a prize. Right then, my mental health was 110%. And then when I worked out that I only won 50 grand, I was like, oh my God.
Okay.
But to your point, your mental health as a 100% has peaks and troughs.
I should say shouldn't. I don't think it can be a constant like plateau.
Yeah.
That's what I should have said.
So, I know we're talking a lot about mental health, physical health though, because you said something. I actually want to get everyone's views on physical health.
So physical, I think your mental health affects that.
Okay.
Because how many people say, I gotta go to the gym, but never actually reach there. That's because their mental state doesn't have enough motivation within it to take them to the gym, even though they know that they should go. So I think it's relatable. If you're a person that, for example, doesn't have any particular health issues that you are aware of, you might be like, well, there's nothing wrong with me. I don't need to go to the gym. I haven't done anything. I haven't been going to the gym so far, and my body's fine, and it's maintaining itself. What do I go gym for? That might be how you think. So again, that's down to how your mental health thinks to relate to whether you go or not. Or you might have that mindset where I need to go gym to make sure that I stay in the peak condition that my body's functioning at. So I think your mental health depicts how your physical health can be.
Okay. Citrus.
I'm actually going to come back.
Okay. Rain?
Oh, shoot. Right. So what was the question again?
So the question is, we've all said about we're not at 100%, physical and mental.
Yeah.
How would you get yourself back to being physical,
right,
not 100% and mental 100%?
So I'll start with the physical. So physical, it is stuff like, you got to know your body, innit? I'm going to go on a rant, innit? Like, there is the going to the gym and there's going outside, having sunshine on your face. But there is also looking after your body. And when I say looking after your body, what you put into your body. Like, I tend not to, like when I come here is when I drink this stuff. Like, it's funny, someone had Lucasade, and I'm one of them ones that I start to look at the ingredients now, and I looked on the ingredients and I saw that it had stabilizers, emulsifiers, basically two things that kill you. Like, why am I going to drink that? You know what I mean? So, and that comes into food, where you're eating and all that kind of stuff. So I think it starts there. Like, physically, I have to understand, when I was younger, 16, well, not even 16, when I was in school, I was able to run 100 meters in about 14, 13 seconds. If I could do that now in 19 seconds, 20 seconds, I don't think I could.
You'd be racing IShowSpeed.
There you go. But it's just different, innit? So you have to, like, people's mental health in regards to their physical goes down because they believe that they should be looking like someone who is 20 or 21. I have to understand that I'm getting older. So I'm not going to be able to do that or look that way. Yeah, I could go to the gym and just do protein and stuff and bulk up and whatnot. But then, well, there's other things I can do to make myself happy. In regards to mental health, the stuff that I do, like, I take my son football. And when I say take my son football, not to go and watch him play, I will take him and I train him. Now, whether I'm training him in a good way or not, who knows? But that's my time with my son. Other than that, it might be going on holidays. Good for the mental health. You go to another country, you down tools, you don't have to worry about anything or anyone apart from the people that you are around. Like, I would love to, and I don't know why I didn't do it, maybe I wasn't mature enough, I would like to go on holiday by myself, to travel to a country and just go by myself, not have to response for no one, and just do me. But I can't do that now, so obviously I do that with the family. And that's what helps to build my mental. It's almost like a battery, innit? You recharge it when you go away, and then you come back and it starts to deplete. Back to the percentage thing.
Citrus.
Couple of things. Physical health, when we all spoke about it, was definitely about, I suppose, the approach or the response you guys gave was definitely about gym, and Rain spoke about eating and whatever else. However, there are other aspects of physical health which you're in more control of. And I'm just going to make it sound really silly. Gum disease. You're in control of your gum disease. Do you get what I mean? Do you brush your teeth twice a day? Do you brush your teeth after having a sweet drink or alcohol, or do you get what I mean? Or dessert? These are the things that you may or may not understand. The mouth is the access point to the body. It's the one part we can get into the body. Do you get what I mean? So if you're not protecting the barrier, well, not one part, there's obviously more than one part, but it's the main part where stuff goes in. So if you then think to yourself, if you're not protecting that part, then the elements that you get in your body enter through your mouth. And if you're not treating your mouth, do you get what I mean? So the physical, I think there's lots of different ways to look at it. Like I have a heart condition. I've had a heart condition for a few years. I've got a small hole in my heart. Apparently I was born with it, never knew. But I have to have it monitored every year to see if it's getting any bigger or whatever else the case is. And thankfully it's not, so that's great. But it lives in that dark room in the back of my brain. And it's silly. So something like, and this happened to Buddy today, but I'll give an example. I'd go to my car, bring my stuff and go home, get inside, realize I've left my AirPods in the car. So I say to myself, I'm just gonna run there, grab the AirPods, run back. I haven't even put a coat on. I'm just gonna run. It's 40 meters outside of my front door. I run along my balcony, run down the stairs, run to my car, grab the AirPods. On the way back now, I thought, hey, I don't know if this is the hole in my heart saying what's going on. Do you get what I mean? Then I stop running because I'm like, I don't actually know what this feeling is. Do you get what I mean? So when I'm saying about physical health, I'm like, well, yeah, I could go gym and whatever else, but is that problem can I repair this problem? Do you get what I mean? Have I had it all the time? Or am I just getting old and these are old man twinges and pains? So I'm just trying to paint a different angle because I'm like one of my friends, like she's going through a few issues now. She had cancer, she's beat it because some cancer cells came back. That's been removed. And now she was called in by the doctors to do an emergency screening. Now she just makes a joke out of it, like consistently. And I think, wow, do you know what I mean? That's like your physical health is in a very different position to mine. So I'm not, woe is me. But I also think to myself, the thing that she's dealing with, I'm not necessarily dealing with it on that scale. And there are many other people that are dealing with things like food allergies and, do you know what I mean? The things that are not like directly apparent. Do you get what I mean? Or I've got a stigma in my left eye and I now need to wear glasses and whatever. I'm losing my hairline, so I'm going Turkey. Do you get what I'm saying? Like there's all of these different physical parts. Do you get what I mean? So that's one thing. And the second thing about mentally, and I was speaking to the guy that I work with today, and he asked me about it. So when I said about mental health, like he's a young Nigerian boy, only been in the country for a couple of years. And I was talking to him about mental health, and he said to me, oh, my mental health is always at 100%. I said, what happens when you're having a bad day? He goes, it's still at 100%. He goes, I'm not letting anyone bring my mental health down. And I said, that's really, really interesting. I said, however, sometimes Father Time gets involved and starts throwing curveballs at you, things that you are and you're not in control of. So I always try my best to be a beam of energy and a beam of light to whoever I interact with, be it the person behind the counter in the shop, one of my customers, you guys, people that watch my statuses, or whatever it is. I don't mind making a fool of myself or sing or dance or do whatever. And then someone messaged me saying, do you know what? Your status today made me really happy. Thanks a lot for that. Or you sent some positive words out. Thanks for that. And for me, I then project this positive energy and it goes out. And then some people receive that energy and project it back to me. But it's like, I don't know what the effect is called. You know that rebound effect? Yeah. But when you get it back, it's like
boomerang effect.
I wouldn't even say boomerang. Like I throw this energy out, it hits the wall, amplifies, and then comes back to me. Yeah. But when it comes back to me, I feel like, as Rain said, the barometer would jump really high because I now know something that I've done has brought some positive space into someone else's world. And the crazy thing is, when someone else brings positive space into your world, by accident, you're going to bring it into those that are around you.
Yeah. So you said something there, right, about you putting out the energy, but sometimes is it not clouding some of the, like you're putting a mask on basically of hiding your pain and not showing the fact that you're actually, I mean, you might be smiling and joking with everybody else, but right now, deep down inside, you're hurting.
The crying clown, basically.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So and thank you for saying that. But even if that is the case, part of my mechanism is let me get some positive energy in. Now I can't phone you up and like, yo, bro, make me happy. Do you know what I mean?
Positive me.
Positive me up. You get what I'm saying? It doesn't work like that.
No, but sometimes sorry.
No, wait. You asked me a question, innit? So I just want to answer it. So it's not the I need everyone to phone me and or check in on me and like, are you all right today, bro? Like, how are you? I don't necessarily need that. That's not that doesn't fill my cup.
Yeah.
Do you get what I'm saying? So the mental health cup, the barometer, it doesn't fill it up. However, when people share information with me to say, do you know what? I've had such a good day today, or blessings. Like I might see someone. Do you know, like when you walk? I don't know if you get this, but you're walking around, you see a postman, normally a black guy, and he'll be like, "Yes, King. Hope you have a good day." And I'm like, "Yes, King. I hope you have a good day." And then straight away, he's poured the positive energy into my cup. So I try to do that out, and when I get it back, it's great. I'm not saying there aren't other demons that are waiting for that dark moment. So when Tongo said you're not at 100%, where you can dip down, of course that happens. As I said, this is life here in London. Do you get what I mean? But I also believe, even when that happens, for me to be able to not dwell in that low barometer number in a dark space, if I push the positive energy out, it comes back.
Do you know what's interesting? I asked the question specifically to say how we all maintain our mental health and physical health. Not one answer said anything about going to the doctors. Not one answer said, you know what, if I'm not feeling 100%, I'll go to the doctors. And the reason why I asked that question is because studies have shown that 45% of women compared to 33.5% of men go to the doctors when they're not feeling well. Well, that could be mental health or physical health. The numbers actually drop down more when you're dealing with black men. So it's interesting in all the answers. And I was thinking maybe one of you would have said, you know what, if I'm not feeling 100%, I'll go doctors or whatever, get myself checked up. But you touched on something as well, Citrus, where you was talking about, funny enough, you was talking about that gum disease and stuff. But things like regular checkups, men, and I'll say, I don't want to make it be a matter of ethnicity, but men generally don't really follow up with checkups. Like, we're all over the age of 40 here. How many of us have had our, as you should do, at 40 or 45, whatever the age may be, how many have had our prostates checked regularly to ensure we don't have, especially considering the background we all come from? That's something that's quite prevalent in our communities. But it's just interesting. It was just interesting answering all of that. Not one of us said, you know what?
Because there's a few podcasts ago, right? And we sat there and we said, what's up? If you're sick, what's the first thing you do? And everybody near enough in the room said, I call my mum. And it's the first thing we do. And to be honest with you, it's probably still the same. And now our parents are probably all the same. They're not telling us to go to the doctors. Do you know
When
what I
you
mean?
was a child... Sorry, just go on.
So that's a really good point Buddy made. However, I'm proud to say, when you asked me the question about my mental health, and I said 70, I think I said, and I know that's not me. I know that there are, like me normally, if on a bad day I'm 90, do you get what I mean? But I recognize that I'm not sleeping properly. Like things are bothering me. Like when you know, I don't know if any of you have this ADHD brain, sometimes you just space out. And when I'm spacing out, there are intrusive thoughts coming in. Like, this isn't right. So I signed up with a therapist. I had my first session last Tuesday. And it was weird. Do you know, shout goes out to Andy anyway. I'm going to send him the link. It was really weird. And we just had a conversation. It felt like I was talking to one of you guys. But this guy just knows nothing about me. Do you get what I mean? And when you say things like, would you go to the doctors? I recognize within myself that I'm not where I need to be. Like, I'm procrastinating over things. I'm not necessarily having the same drive that I normally have. I'm normally a, let's go. And when I'm not feeling like that, I'm like, I need to do something about it. And then that's what I've done. So that's the step that I've taken to say, well, I'm recognizing that I booked 6 sessions. That said, I've recognized that this isn't quite right. Let me just have a conversation with someone impartial, get their professional views, and then take a point from there.
I'll tell you what's weird. When I was a child, going to the doctors in my household was actually quite a regular thing. If you caught a cold, we're gonna go to the doctors.
Straight.
If you're serious, it was, and I don't know if it because my dad at the time he had epilepsy, so he would regularly. It was a regular going to the doctors. So I know my doctors. I've had the same doctors practice since I was born, but I know that since I got to probably my mid-20s, that's completely like tailed off. So I don't do regular checkups like I should do, especially when you get to a certain age. You're meant to have regular checkups, not just for the common things, but for the uncommon things. There are things you're meant to have I don't know if it's yearly or bi-yearly.
Yeah,
but part of
yearly,
it with me is, and this sounds quite stupid, I don't feel I'm that old that I should be doing that. I look at that as an old man thing.
Right.
Yeah.
Okay.
But it's weird, but I really should be doing that. And I'm wondering if that's our general mindset, that we look at it that that's not for us. That's like an old man thing. They need to go and get checked up or whatever.
You know what it is? I can't say that I would any ailment I'll go to the doctor. I don't know if I would if my mental health dropped I would go to a doctor. But I do the health check thing. So and I would say like the last one I did was probably about 18 months ago. So I'm due one now, and that was to do your blood pressure, blood sugar, check for diabetes, cholesterol. Check for diabetes more so because that runs in my family. Cholesterol, and there was something else.
Did it do your prostate as well?
No. There was something else that he checked for. But anyway, so I do that. That's more because of my mum, because my mum is a health practitioner. So she's like, you have to do this. She's on me. You have to do this. But the reason why I wouldn't necessarily go to a doctor for mental health, and I could be totally wrong. It could just be in my mind. But I've dealt with a lot of people in my profession that have gone to the doctors in regards to mental health, and they're prescribed X, Y, and Z. And the X, Y, and Z, when you look at what it does, it's almost it
worsens.
Not worsens.
Or numbs it.
It suppresses it.
Yeah.
So then you keep going back for that fix. I'm not saying it's akin to a Class A drug, but it's like I can't even remember the name.
If I don't have my meds, I'm gonna be like,
I can't function. You become dependent.
Is it? I can't. But they call it. Is it uppers or something that keeps you up here? And if you don't take it, then your mental stuff goes down. So you end up now becoming addicted to being on these painkillers or whatever it might. Like Michael Jackson, with his painkillers addiction, he had a lot of these people that was taking like opioids. Takes away the pain, but they become addicted to that pain-free. They need to be pain-free when the pain is actually a signal that something is going wrong.
Something else is going wrong.
Yeah. So that's me in regards to it. Like, I don't. Again, my mental health is at a decent place, so I don't think there is a need for it. But I think there are other mechanisms you can use before you go to the doctor.
So
services.
I'm gonna have to challenge you back. You say there's no need for it because you think you're at a decent place.
Yeah.
But that's exactly why you need to go.
No, but
sorry. Do you get what I mean? So because like one thing that we always say is, when do you fix the roof? You fix the roof on a sunny day. You don't fix the roof when it's raining because when it's raining. You don't fix the roof. You don't fix the roof when it's raining because your house is getting wet.
Yeah.
So if we notice there's not a real problem there. There might be a problem there. Let's get that checked out before it becomes a big problem. Because when it is now raining, do you know what I mean? Be like, oh no, I should have done something about that.
I get,
does that make sense?
Yeah, I do, but it's. I think I misspoke. Like I wouldn't go to a doctor to do mental health. The reason being, your doctor. Do you know how long a GP appointment is supposed to be?
8 minutes.
10 minutes.
It's supposed to be roughly about 10 minutes. You might get 15 if it's a particularly bad case. However, if you wanted to speak to somebody independently, there's loads of free services where you can have quality time with that person. Like the Samaritan. I'm not saying I'll call the Samaritans, but that would be in my if I felt that I didn't feel in the right headspace, I'm calling the Samaritans or I'm calling somebody like that. There's so many free groups out there. That would be my first point of call. In my mind, the doctor, it's a 10-minute meeting. He's going to say, right, how you feeling? Oh, I feel sad. Right, okay. Do you feel like getting out of bed in the morning? No, right. Take these tablets, you'll feel great. But you need someone to talk through the issues. Now, that doesn't work for everyone. There are some people who their mental health is at that 10, 20%. Now, I have no idea what that feels like.
Do you know what? I think I'm hoping you.
You had a big sigh. I was going to come to you anyway. You had a big sigh earlier.
No, it was only because I was thinking to myself, it was something that Rain said, and I was thinking there could be any causes for mental health. Women, financial, like work.
The triggers.
Like I don't know if you're coming onto it, but it's like there are loads of triggers to these things. So being fine now is one thing. Do you know what I mean? There was many podcasts ago, all right, where I can sit there and say, me and Citrus were sitting there like, work's great, everything's awesome. We're in a great space. I don't know what you lot are talking about. And then afterwards, work switched, and it was like, whoa, yeah, work's not as great as it used to be. Do you know what I mean? And now,
and the crazy thing, bud, to jump on that, please continue. But it's I'm not earning as much, so I can't do as much. Oh, we normally go dates every week, babe. Now let's this week. Why don't we just cook? I saw a recipe on Instagram. Need cornflakes, flour, water. We're gonna do, crunchy dumplings. I don't know. Like at the end of the day,
Crunchy nut dumplings.
you just now need to. Do you get what I'm saying? And as I said, like I want Buddy to continue, but the effects of work not being as financially rewarding as it was beforehand meant other aspects of
other aspects of your life got affected.
Of our life got affected, which also then affected relationships.
the cascade, isn't it?
Yeah, and
Avalanche effect.
and when you don't see the impact of what's happening, and then the wrong person says, "Do you want to come out to the event next week? It's £250 a ticket." And you're looking at them, and you're thinking to yourself, "I swear you know that work ain't working."
Yeah.
So ask me a question like that. Are you trying to take man for an idiot? Do you get what I mean? So you start to develop issues like, Buddy's just insensitive. Just because he got a good job, I never got a good job. Why are you now asking me to come to Jamaica? Do you know what I mean? Unless you're paying for me, bro. Now you got a whole new, got a whole new problem.
Issue.
Yeah.
Buddy, you were saying though.
No, I'm saying that there are lots of triggers to it. So, I personally find to myself, there are certain things that we do as friends that kind of not maintains the mental health, but you kind of always kind of get through it in a certain way where, and to be fair, you slacked, and I'm gonna put it out there that you slacked. Me? Yeah, kind of.
I know what you're gonna refer to. Go on.
The MT call in the morning on the Mondays.
Explain the MT call.
So
You're gonna bring his mental health down now. What?
What's more about?
Explain the MT call.
So the MT call is on a Monday. Doesn't have to be a Monday, but we've chosen, or one of us have chosen a Monday to call on a Monday morning. The man, there's what, 19 people, 18 people in the group. Yeah. All right. And there's 18 of us. We'll jump on a call on a Monday morning and we'll just talk about how was our week, how's it going, what's happening in our world. And it was a place where at first, the first time, I don't know if he'd done it by accident, but he done it and it was just like, why are we all on a call? And then it now became a thing where everybody got to speak about something that was going on. So I might not see Tongo for the whole week, all right, until here, or might have seen for 2-3 weeks. And it's like, right, seen you in a while, but if he catches him on that Monday, I know what's going on.
And you know he's all right.
You know what I mean? I know he's all right. And I've caught up enough with him to say, you know what, I know that this was happening, I know that was happening, etc., etc. And it was a nice call, and it's good for your mental health. Like I said, speaking sometimes is a good thing, and I might not need to expose myself to everybody on the podcast. So, but I might speak to you guys. There might be something that I say, you say something and go, "Oh, Rain, I got." You might say to me, "Oh, yeah, I got a thing for that." You know, I'm like, you know what? After the call, I'll chat to you, and no one else needs to know the rest of my business. I'm just going to chat to Rain because that's who I need to speak to, and it was really good. And I feel to myself, talking to people is something that. Citrus said earlier on, I've got a therapist. I'm like, but you could have, not saying not to use the therapist because that is also another avenue, all right? But I'm saying you could have also called my phone. You could have called Rain's phone. You could have called Tongo's phone. You could have called Wiley's phone. You could have called any one of us and sat there and vented and said what you needed to say and hear another perspective on the situation.
But if you heard the point I made, I said an impartial voice, someone that doesn't know me.
No, I heard that.
And that's the reason why. Mm-hmm. And coming back to the MT phone call, all of us could do it.
Wiley has.
And secondly, I called last week. Only Buddy and Sirelli answered. I called this week. None of you lot answered. So I'm not having it. Check MT right now. 8:58. Monday gone.
No, you know the funniest thing is, and to be fair,
I saw the call flooding in.
I saw the call, but here's the thing though, and this is where
crime.
But this is where it now becomes a thing. I suppose that could add to a pressure because the pressure becomes now we're all now putting that pressure on you to make that call.
I told you mental health's getting done.
Because ultimately, it's not a case of, oh, where's the MT call? It's where's Citrus making the MT call? Hold on a second. And I did it a couple months back or whatever. Yeah. And I did it and I said, hold on a second. Well, since Citrus ain't made the call last week, I don't know if something's happened, but he ain't made the call, so I'll make the call this week. But it wasn't because I wanted to make the call. It was because the thing we were used to, we weren't actually doing because you normally do it. And if you take away who normally does it, it breaks that chain. But at the same time, it adds a pressure onto someone to say, I've got to be the person to be doing that.
I saw the call. I didn't want to answer it because I was at 100%. So I was like,
you know what? Something that I found today. It's about mental health. And you touched upon there's different triggers. So I'm going to touch on a trigger for men. So more men now are dating or in a relationship for peace rather than beauty in 2025. So, in 2025, 95% of men in the survey, and I'll give the source, not making this stuff up, say that they are prioritizing their mental health. Now, prioritizing their mental health means that it reshapes how they date or what they look for. So, as much as they might look at the person who is a perfect 10, they won't go
aesthetically,
visually, they won't go for the perfect 10. They will go for someone who they're attracted to, one, but who they connect with. And I thought that's what dating should have been about. Anyway,
I thought it was just me.
The men self-care industry, do you know how much money it's worth?
oh, loads now.
It's got
I know it's gone up.
Roughly, guess.
I'm going to say about $500 million.
$500 million.
$500 million.
Yeah,
I'm going
I'm
to
going
say
to say about 10 billion.
1.2 billion.
Go.
$1 billion.
$90 billion.
90 billion.
90 billion. Remember, self-care. It's not just about going to the gym. It's about
haircut, massage,
right.
Pedicure, manicure. Do you know what I mean? I'm just gonna go to a spa with my people. Then I'm gonna go gym.
All these things.
So all of these it fits into everything. But just to add on to that, I saw a Lynx advert, and the Lynx advert is for a spray for down below.
The one that the everything spray. It's like
No, bruv.
No,
The spray
wasn't it short?
is specific.
No, sure, got a similar
down,
one, yeah.
for
Yeah,
down
sure.
below. And this is the advert. There's a black cute playing basketball. He goes to slam dunk. He's gonna dunk on this guy. They slow it down. The guy's balls come closer to the guy who's gonna get dunked on his face, and he goes,
no way.
"What the thing?
Wow. What was it? Lynx, yeah?
Lynx." I could have been
Lynx
like,
advert, go look for it.
what? And then it switches to another scene. There's a guy walking through the cinema. He sprays the spray on his bum. He's walking through the cinema. It looks like the film's on. He's got popcorn in his hand. He's like, "Excuse me, sorry." As he was past this chick, she just goes, and she smells his batty. Now, I was looking at this advert thinking,
What time
there's
was it?
someone out there, not someone, there's going to be a lot of people who are like, there's another reason why I don't need to wash. I'm just going to buy this and spray it on my sweaty balls.
But you know what, though? To touch in with what you're saying about
Self-care.
the self-care industry, let's even go back a few years. How long were people even thinking about something like Manscaped being something that would be a big thing?
That's true.
These things.
Around the room, who's got a Manscaped thing?
What? I was going to ask, what is it?
It's
I got one.
I ain't got one, but I know what it is, though.
Okay.
Shaving your pubes.
It's a shaver just for your lower region.
Philips have just bought out one.
No, Manscaped thing is good.
Been out-
Because
about the
Manscaped
years,
is
yeah.
like, look, you can't mash your thing up. You can't pierce your skin. You can't. I saw the advert, the guy put it on a balloon. You know when the balloon's squeaking? I'm like, right, that could be my... I said, yeah, let me get that.
But here's
However,
yeah, go on.
seeing me actually do it, bro. I don't want to know. It's a scene from a horror film, bro. English.
But here's the thing. The reason why I brought that up, though, was to say that that's the way the world has gone. And to bring it back to what Rain's point was, if you look at it, aside from the industry, the whole world has now gone into more of a thing like men's mental health. Men being more open with their emotions. If you look at the way that the tolerance of what men are meant to be tolerating from the world it's been viewed now rather because if you look at it, we used to have to be walking with the world on our shoulders.
Man up, the whole man up.
The whole man up thing. We have to walk with the world on our shoulders. So you ain't got to worry about the fact you're getting backache.
Don't express any emotion.
Yeah.
Because that shows weakness.
Yes. But
Yeah,
now,
of course.
with the advent of and I'm not saying that their messages are necessarily correct or incorrect, but the advent of the gentleman who passed away, I forget his name, Kevin Samuels. Samuels?
Yeah.
The Andrew Tates, their message is a much more masculine message, a much more message of men prioritizing themselves. Whether it is agreeable or not is another story, but what it is, it's touched onto a lot of men to think, actually, men do matter. Actually, our mental health does matter. Our healthcare matters.
Exactly. You know what? So I got shout out my bedroom Ricardo, or Cardo, we call him. So we went to Spain on a we went to one of those weekender things. So everyone's like, oh yeah, we're gonna go to the beach, we're gonna go to blah blah blah. He disappeared. So me and my other bedrooms walking down to go down to the beach, and we see him in one little place, and he's getting a pedicure on his foot. Them time there, I'm laughing at him. But this man was ahead of his time.
Way ahead of his time.
Way ahead of his time. Because has anyone had a pedicure?
I have.
You have?
Yeah. I haven't.
I never have, but it's something that I'm going to
Get
do.
it done. Get it done.
Of course.
Yeah,
It's mad.
It's proper.
It's mad.
It's proper.
It's like using the Manscaped.
I mean, manscaping. Do you know what? When you manscape, the first thing you want to do is go for a swim, bruv. I'm just gliding through slipstream, bruv. Slipstream.
But the thing is that I've never done that. Like even the whole thing of a skincare routine, and I know that men's mental health is not just about that, but
these things feed into it, of course.
Yeah, it's all, and you do feel different when you wash your face, with something which isn't just Dove soap, and you can feel the difference in your face. It all adds to your mental health.
I went to Aesop. I think that's the pronunciation. AESOP.
Oh, right.
This Australian. It's an Australian
money. That's what it's
skincare
called. Money
thing. And I went in there and I had it was £160 treatment. When I'm saying to you, after I was rubbing my face, I was like, I never knew my face could feel like this. When I'm saying they steamed it, they did they got some, I don't know where it is, bruv, some spray thing. And it's like they're spraying just moisture.
Is it menthol kind of stuff as well?
Yeah. So it's spraying, the room's all quiet. And I'm sitting there like an idiot, but I'm enjoying every second of it. And then after, what was great, it was there was a woman and a guy, and as the woman is doing the treatment, the guy's saying, so this product that we're using now is called this. This is good for blah, blah, and blah, blah, and blah, blah. And if you get spots or you get oily skin, then this is what you need to do. This is how often you need to do the routine. And I'm sitting in there and I'm like, this is marvelous. Obviously, it was expensive. So it's not to say I've been back. But if I knew how to do the routine for myself, I'd definitely do it. But half I suppose the care was having it done for me.
It's experience of it.
Do you get what I mean? Just the experience of it.
Yeah, just to relax.
So here's the thing. I mean, touching on to, and it's interesting because we have got a barber in the room with us as in Tongo. But what's interesting is that
Cut my hair.
I saw
faded my ball patch.
If you look at the way the barbering industry has changed now. I don't know about I say our as in the black barbering industry. But I used to go to a Turkish barbers.
Even the black barbering industry.
I used to go to
changed.
a Turkish barbers, and it was mainly because they used to do my beard a certain way. But I didn't. When they would say, "Oh, do you want to?" They didn't even ask the question. This is the hot towel. The hot towel. I was thinking, what the hell is this? Like, I'm not used to this. And then when you're now experienced, as you said, you come on a much smaller scale than the ASOP, but you come out of there and you're like, what, my skin's all tingling. It's various different things, but it's the experience of it. And what it does, weirdly enough, it affects your mental because you're now feeling better about yourself physically, which affects your mental, which then affects your physical. It's a circle.
But that's why women are ahead of the curve, because
well ahead.
What do?
Well ahead.
Not all, but they enjoy going to spas. They enjoy getting their hair done, nails done. You know what I mean? The pedicures, the facials. They enjoy doing it. So and it helps
eyebrows
with all of that. It helps with their mental health. But
Some of them get their moustache too.
But we have come from a place of no, men don't do that. But the smart thinking is that actually adds a few percent onto that barometer, which can bring you closer to that 100%.
Which ties right into the point I was going to come on to next, which is, do you think that the stigmas and the cultural barriers that we have in our communities, I'll say our community, I should really just say men generally, because we all have these stigmas, maybe more so in our
generation,
our generation and our culture, but definitely in men, there's these stigmas and cultural barriers there. Do you think that we're now at a place where we can pretty much overcome them?
So, have any of you lot ever said, you're hurting my feelings?
Probably.
I think I've said you're not taking how I feel into consideration.
Let's go. He said, ever said. He never said from when you're an adult.
He said, you're hurting my feelings.
I don't think so, no.
You've never said that as a child?
No.
I don't think so.
As a child?
I'll just
No.
fight, man.
No.
If someone's going to hurt feelings, just take what
So
I want.
no,
Not that I
No.
can think of. Not you're hurting my
I'm going to
feelings.
say
in that way,
no.
no.
you're going to say yeah.
I can imagine you
I
saying
knew you were going to say that.
I'm joking.
I could have bet on that one.
Yeah. But if you think about it, our feelings have been hurt.
Yeah, numerous times, yeah.
Why have we not ever shared that?
Here's a flip onto the point you're making. If you was going to say that, would you more likely say that to a woman or to a man?
Either.
Regardless, whoever's hurt your feelings,
Yeah,
would
I'm
you
saying.
say, do you know what you did right there? That really hurt my feelings. And the thing is, as you said, and as we can all agree, our feelings have been hurt. And it could be something really small, really silly. It might just be, and I'm only because Buddy's probably most likely to do it. Buddy would turn around and say, "Are you looking fat today, Citrus?"
Wow.
What, bro?
I wouldn't
Do you know what I mean? Now, all of a sudden, I'm like, well, I weren't feeling great this morning. Now talking to one of my close brethren, you turn around telling me I'm looking stodgy.
Start calling my sit truck.
So now when it comes down to lunchtime, right, what are you having? Oh, nothing apparently. Yeah.
have a salad.
Because I got all of this to work off before I'm gonna eat again. Do you get what I mean? Now, am I gonna turn around and say, oh, you know when you said that, you really hurt my feelings. Now, credit to Buddy, he may not have said the words exactly, but what he has said to me when I've said something to him was like, do you know that really got to me?
Okay.
So, in to me, if I dust down the cobwebs, I hurt his feelings.
Yeah.
And I'll be like, do you know what, bro? That was never my intention. You know, sometimes you can have slick tongue and da-da-da and whatever else, but I want to make you feel worse because that empties your, like, I mean, I know it's a barometer, but I always talk about the cup. That empties your cup of positivity. I don't want to do any of that. I want to make sure that I uplift and I fill your cup. So if I'm taking away and emptying your cup, then that's the complete opposite of being a friend. Do you get what I mean?
The reason why I asked you,
Sorry, bud.
the reason why I asked you, do you think you're more likely to say it to a woman or to a man, is because I think generally we're more likely to say that. If we are going to say that, we're more likely to say it to. I think maybe I'm just changing what I'm thinking now, thinking about it. But my initial thought process was that. No. I think. Let me explain what I mean. So my general thought process was men are not going to say it to men because men will look at them as you're just being effeminate, you're being feminine. Whereas also a woman may look at you and think, well, you're not being man enough.
Right.
So that's where I was now.
So you're wrestling to say, would you say it to a man? Would you say it to a woman?
Generally, I think you're more likely to say it to a woman.
What
but
about
I think you're going to have parents. Now, my mum.
Not to my mum.
You ain't going to say it to your parents, I don't think.
At this age now, I'm more likely to talk 3-ish, not 3-er. 3-ish to my mum and say, I don't like when you did this because it did this to me and I didn't like it. Whereas as a child growing up, definitely not. We were seen, not heard. Now I'm an adult. I'm a man of myself.
Mum, you hurt
like
my feelings.
Would I say, Mum, you hurt my feelings? I wouldn't say. I don't think I'd say that exact line.
Yeah.
But I would say as close to that line as I could do. Probably more than I would have done years ago.
Rain, I want you to answer the
original question.
The
Would
original
you say
question.
it to a woman or to a man?
Or
what are you more likely to do?
Or is
it equal?
The expression if your feelings have been hurt?
The answer to the question is I don't know, but I think it depends on the situation, and you know what it is. There's sitting with the man them after a rave talking about rare tear, or there's a difference when actually forget that. There's a difference when you're in an argument with your partner, your missus, and you're going head to head. And then you say, right, well, that hurt my feelings. I think in that situation, I would say it to a female. In regards to a man, I just don't know if there's anything that another man would do to garner that kind of emotional response.
No, and this is the problem though, because if I'll be very honest, and it's gonna make me sit up a little bit, but no, you just gotta be honest. If you've pissed me off, all right, and it's got to the point, excuse me, where it's like this has bothered me. So you lot have sat there. There's some banter going on right now, and I'm sitting there. I'm like, rah, and I'm in my feelings. Now, as a man, I should, and as being boys, I should be able to turn and say, you know what, man, I didn't like that. When you said my toes big, it hurt my feelings. I didn't like it.
You're right, but again, I don't think. I can't think of a time any of the men have done anything which has garnered that response from me or needed that.
But
because we ain't bullied you yet.
To his point, no, but to Buddy's point, if one person in the group's getting got, and you're like, guys, you're hurting my feelings, isn't that fueling the flame?
For some man,
Yes. Yeah.
Ammo.
100%.
Man like citrus, that's exactly
Me,
what it does.
bro.
But
We're talking about rain right now.
There's certain people with certain sensibilities, all right, that would sit there and say, you know what, I'm sensible enough to just let's allow it, because it's upsetting him.
I feel like it wouldn't be said in that way. Sorry.
Go on.
I feel like it would be what's the word? Adhered to or implied,
Yes.
but
Yes.
not
Yes.
said in those words.
Would you have the
a
same?
man might say,
Go on.
"Oh, why you been a pussy for?" Or
Yes.
to like, as in to like leave me alone, or like he ain't gonna be like, "Oh, you hurt my feelings, blood. Allow me." You know what I mean? It might be, "I allow it now, blood. Like, allow it." Or, do you know what I mean?
So,
Like,
so there are other ways, isn't it?
Yeah.
And the interesting thing is, and man, woman, and child, do you recognize the other ways? Do you know what? I think you lot are going a bit too far now. Is more of a term a man would say to another man or to a group of men.
Yeah,
Do you get what I mean? And that is, you're hurting my feelings.
Yeah. The phrase,
If you don't fix it, I'm gonna react.
That reaction brings the masculinity.
That reaction,
I say masculinity, but brings that reaction exactly like you're saying.
But the reaction could then be anything. Do you know what I mean? I'm gonna punch you in your face because I told you to stop. Do you get what I mean? Because you've now gone to this kind of physical.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean?
To do with the emotions
because
of what
your
it is.
emotions have got too high. Sorry, Tongo.
don't you think that a lot of the time when those things happen, it's not actually the, for want of a better word, victim that says it? It'll be more like D might recognise.
An advocate will say
D
it
might
for the behalf.
recognise, rah, you lot being on Tongo too much now, you know. So he might say it like, you lot are going too far and allow it.
That's only if someone with that emotional maturity is in the space to give that.
Do you know what I'm saying? Like, I feel like if it's a group thing with the man there and we're bantering and whatever, and someone's getting got. I feel like someone else other than the person that's actually being got is going to be the person that says, you're not going too far now, or allow it, or stop.
I ain't been in no situation where anyone said, when someone's getting got, oh, you men are going too far.
No, but it's do you know what it is?
No, but
it might not be said.
I feel like someone else would say it rather than the person.
It might not have been said, but sometimes it's a case of some people will just put the brakes on the.
You just read it.
Yeah,
You read it, innit?
Or
allow it.
it may have been
the
said
person
away from an audience.
And do you know the worst thing is? It's not even that. When the person goes super quiet, and it's like,
loud
right,
one
now that's bullying.
Understand the thing.
Yeah.
But the thing you mentioned, what was it? I slipped my mind now. So when Tongo
Expressing feelings.
No,
with-
it was. It's gone. It'll come back to me in a second.
But just to Tongo, I do want to ask a question. Would you feel more? You'd say that if you was gonna say you've hurt my feelings, would you say it more to a man or say it more to a woman? Or are you just equal? You say it equally.
I would implicate it to both men and women, but in different ways. So I wouldn't say that phrase, how I'd implicate it to a woman and how I'd implicate it to a man would be different wording, but it would have the same meaning behind it.
Okay, got you, buddy. Are you? What's your? Are you just level? You just do?
Yeah, I'll say it to anyone. I
But
I wouldn't.
Buddy would scream and jump.
Aside though, Buddy is the most emotional, intelligent. I'm gonna say out of all of us in terms of. Wait, let me. I'm not gonna use his phrase of a plane and what they do. But what I will say is, I don't mean it right. Maybe not emotional intelligence. What I mean is emotion, in touch with their emotions, to voice it to all of us. I am not happy with whatever. Yes, that's the best.
Yeah,
Thank you, Tongo.
I would say I can agree with that.
Why is that the case? Why are you built like that?
Because I feel to myself.
No, you know what it is?
No, why are you gay?
Do you know why I asked the question? Because it's funny because I was asked the question this week. I was asked the question, do I analyze why I don't feel it's important to know why I do things? Because I generally don't. I generally just deal with outcomes. I don't deal with trying to understand why things have to be done away or why I am wired the way that I am. I'm like that. Whereas Buddy is more a person who would be more vocal to say,
Definitely tuned into his emotions.
but why do you feel you're like that as opposed to not like that?
Why do I feel I voice my opinion?
Yeah, why are you more comfortable to do that?
Because I feel to myself, I don't like injustice and I don't like bullying. So when I feel that someone is being bullied, or if I feel I'm being bullied, all right, I'll feel to myself, I'm going to voice my opinion. If you don't like it, that's fine. Do you know what I mean? As a man, I can now walk away from the situation. So if I felt to myself, you lot was picking on me now, and it hurt me enough to say, guys, I don't like it. Stop bringing up my name when you're saying that. And you lot didn't want to listen. It's like, oh, screw that. We're going to continue saying, Buddy. It was mine. I've voiced it to you lot. Now it's my prerogative to say, you know what? I'm going to get up and I'm going to walk out. And then you lot can sit there and say, oh, why did you walk out? I told you lot to stop. Leave me alone. It's bothering me. So if you lot can't understand that, all right, I've put it out there. Now it's for you lot now to say to yourself, like, let's leave it. He said what he said. Let's leave it. If you don't, then I'll just walk away from it. Do you know what I mean? I'm man enough to do that. As I've got older, nobody's now in control of me enough for me to turn and say to myself, oh, you know, I can't voice whatever opinion I want, especially about myself and how I feel.
Citrus.
I think that question was really harsh. I think to answer that question is very difficult. As his friend, my observation of why he's like that is when I see his relationship at home. I see his relationship with his mum. I see his relationship with his siblings. I see his relationship with his son. And also the relationship with his dad, the relationship he has with us. And there are things where Buddy's, I suppose, as you said, the emotional, being in tune with his emotions. There are things that he'll just say, like, if I'm happy, I'm beaming happy, but if I'm sad, I'm extremely sad. Like, there's no mask, as Tongo spoke about mask, there's no mask over it. So, whereas when he was younger, the only way to deal with this, if someone's getting at me, is I'm just gonna put my fist in your face. And then we work out what's going on. I don't care if you can beat me up or not. I'm just gonna punch you. Do you know what I mean? As he probably got older, realizing this ain't probably the best way to deal with it, but I'm still not gonna have it. I'm just gonna tell you, guys, this is getting to me. Or do you know what? I don't want to talk about that. And sometimes he'd be like, I'll be talking to him on the phone, and he'd be like, do you remember 3 weeks ago when you said, and it feels like you're having a conversation with your partner, and she's like, oh, what now, babe? Do you get what I mean? Like, Buddy, what is it? Yeah, you mentioned this thing, and when you said that, I felt blah, blah, blah. And I was like, why did you wait so long to say so? Because if you told me, at the time, I would have stopped immediately. Or I now have 101 more questions about it, but I don't want to ask to unpick that scab that's just healed over enough for you to bring it to my attention. But I don't want to make the same mistake tomorrow, next week, next month, next year. Do you get what I mean? And there are areas where, and Buddy, tell me to stop when you're ready. There are areas where, and this is going to sound really harsh, I think he's been slightly too emotional, if you get what I mean. Like it's not being thick-skinned, but he's just taking a lot of things to heart. And I'm like, bro, sometimes if this is how you're feeling, literally just draw a line in it, and as he said, walk away. But voice it, because if you don't voice it, we're not going to pick it up. And I'm talking in particular when it's me, Buddy, and Sirelli, and we're going somewhere, Buddy might trip over. Now, he might be the butt of the joke for the next 5 minutes. And actually, 1 or 2 jokes were enough. 5 minutes is too long. Buddy then says, anyway, lads, I'm going to go now. Bro, we're meant to be going to cinema. The film starts in 3.5 minutes. Yeah, you lot enjoy it. See you later. And I'm like, Then we have that reflection moment like, maybe that was a bit too much for me now.
Yeah, but
do you understand what I'm saying?
I understand what you're trying to say, but what it is it's like we're having a whole conversation about it now. It's like, when is the point where the person's supposed to say, you're hurting my feelings? Because then it comes at the point where you're like, you guys stop now, it's hurting my feelings. Batio.
What?
So instead of that, you just gonna say to yourself, all right then,
as you said, it's more fuel.
Yeah, I left it. Have your fun. If it gets too far, I'm gonna say to you, yo, bros, that's enough for me. Like, one more, and I'm probably just gonna leave because I don't want to hear it no more. Do you know what I mean? So I will definitely voice it, all right. But I will let a few of them go. And I was like, you know what? You don't have to react to everything. Do you know what I mean? So, but if it does get to you, it gets to you. And I don't see why at any point. And this is why I will vocalize my point, is because I feel to myself, I don't see why I should hold it in if it's bothering me. I don't mind being the butt of a joke. I'm fine with it. It's banter. We have a laugh, you know what I mean? I from school days, class clown, whatever else not, I'm happy to make jokes. I do like it. Do you know what I mean? But then there will be a point where I'm like...
It passes a line, innit?
Yeah, and I'm like, no, that one passed the line. I don't like that no more. I'm going to be quiet and just try and he was honest in that degree. I'll say that part was very honest. Like, I'll just go quiet. I'd say, you know what? I don't want to speak no more because I'm upset and I don't want to say the wrong thing. So let me just leave it alone. And if people now can't read the room to say that's what he's doing and then still keep poking, back when I was younger, it was fight. Now I'm old enough to say, bros, allow it. Or I'm out. Do you know what I mean? I don't need this.
Remove yourself from it.
Yeah, I'll just remove myself from the situation.
What was the question you asked before? Was it you asked something along the lines of, was it the phrases that are used to define men or something along those lines?
Yeah, I was saying that if you're, I was basically saying that if the thing I was wrestling when I was saying before was, would you more likely say it to women or would you more likely say it to women, is that with men, we'd be like, nah, it'd be like the mickey taking. But a woman may look at it and say, you're not being man enough. So that was the two things that I was trying to weigh up.
So in regards to that, does that play on our minds when a woman would say the man's man is dead or real men are dead or chivalry doesn't exist? Because remember, that is the old school man, isn't it? Like he is the hunter-gatherer. He is the person that's supposed to do X, Y, and Z. Do you think that affects men as to why they suppress certain things?
I think, and this is me personally, so please do not take this as all men, but I think as a man, if I show too much emotions to the wrong person, their perception of me will change. And can I risk that perception changing? Because if the perception changes and then they challenge you in another arena, my reaction then is going to be disproportionate because I now have to prove I'm still the man, you know. I may have said to you, you hurt my feelings, but now this guy's bumped into the car at the traffic lights. I'm going to punch him, drag him through the window, strangle him, hold him over a bridge, and say, you're going to pay for that? Innit, babe? You're going to pay for that? Still the man. You're going to pay for that? Do you get what I mean? Because now you're now
prove yourself.
Almost reinforcing that I am the man. So being able to be in the middle of it all and work it out, I literally think it's one of those, it's a juggling act. Do you get what I mean? And there are points where I think we should learn to be more vulnerable, but there are also points where I will hide that vulnerability to protect open and closed brackets manhood.
But vulnerability is not a bad thing.
It's not. But
too much is.
Too much.
But
There's a noise. There's a noise downstairs. The house is dark. There's a noise downstairs. Did you hear that? Did you hear what? That noise. Oh. Babe, if you go down, FaceTime me, right? I'll come running after, okay? She's now like, hurt my feelings. Let me just deal with this. All of a sudden, the big piece of chicken ain't going on your plate tomorrow morning. Do you know what I mean? For dinner. You're not getting the big piece of chicken. You're getting the
Tomorrow
wings.
morning for dinner, mad thing.
You're getting the wings. Do you get what I'm saying?
I hear that, but the other side of me also says to myself, and the best one I can use, sisters don't like mice. So
No.
there's a mouse downstairs.
There was a mouse in the storage unit yesterday. Anna went in there.
Bruv, there's a mouse downstairs. Babe, can you go and get it? I'm scared of mice.
Yes.
And you're like, well, no, I'm not going to go and get it because I'm scared of... So, you know what I mean? I will tell them, I'm scared of mice. I ain't going if that was my thing. You know what I mean? I'll just tell them, I don't want to because I'm scared of it. Why am I now going to sit there and go, oh, I want to be a hero? And then
The mouse touches my leg.
The mouse jumps up in my face and bites me. You said the mice touched my
Touches
leg.
my leg. I'm going to rip my I'm going to rip my foot off, bruv. I'll rip my foot off and dash it at the mouse.
Bro, but this is the thing. I'm trying to say, I don't want to be. I don't mind saying that I'm vulnerable in it. If I'm vulnerable to my missus, my partner, and I'm going to say to you anything and everything that I feel. Do you know what I mean? I shouldn't have to put on a fake shiny coat or cape and then tell her, say, look, I'm Superman. I'm Clark Kent there and Superman. I don't need to do that. I'm just going to be who I am. You know I'm Superman. You know I'm Clark Kent. You know I'm both, innit? So leave me alone. Do you know what I mean? That's me.
It's because of the stigma about being a man and being a man's man and being strong and the provider and the gatherer and
Head of the household
and all this stuff is why we would suppress these feelings, because as you said, to the man them you don't look like a pussy hole, to your missus you don't look like a pussy hole, to your children you don't look like a pussy hole, to your mum you don't look like a pussy hole. Because like for example, as an adult, if you're trying to scare of spiders and your child is scared of spiders, you can't show them to be scared of spiders. You got to be spiders are nothing. You can't make them grow up
inherit your fear.
You can't introduce the fear to them.
Yeah. So that's with them. With your partner, if a man come and I don't know, slaps a bum when you're out in a club, you got to say something. Even though they might be this big, you got to say something to the man. At least say something to him.
Maybe you deserved it, babe. Shouldn't be shaking that ass anyway.
Look how sexy you are, baby. You know?
Do you know what?
So you've got there's time when you have to put on that front. So you will suppress that. Right now, I am pranging her. But you have to breathe it out and firm it. No. Yes, you do. This time you have to.
I think you do to an extent.
You do. This time you have to.
Yeah, but you would teach your children to face their fears, right?
So So I don't like spiders. I'm not scared of them. I just don't like them. And I'm okay with them unless they are quicker than I am.
They're all quicker.
Because no. There are spiders that are like, shut up, man. Stamp on it. It's good.
Shut up.
But there are some spiders that will just wing.
I've heard of the screaming spider that
No,
runs.
thanks.
The what?
But
It screams as it runs. It's mad.
So if you to the point where it's not that I'm fearful of it, is I'm not gonna go sleep if a spider's in the room and I don't remove it.
Wow.
No, I don't want the spider crawling in my ear, laying eggs.
call them
Now
money spiders, bro. I'm
you
good
say,
with
bruv, watch YouTube. It's a dangerous place. So, what I did with my daughter now, she's 20, she's in her 20s. I said to her, "We're gonna pick up the spider." She was like, "What? Mummy's scared of spiders." I'm like, "But it's fine. I'm gonna show you how to pick the spider up." I don't want to pick up no spider. However, I said, "Let's go get a glass. Go and get a piece of paper. Come, let's go and do it." She's like, "What?" So when we was walking in the room, I could feel her squeezing my hand. Now, the thing is, I wanted to squeeze her hand because I was like, imagine I put the glass down on the spider. The spider runs around the glass, up my sleeve, in my mouth. You know, my brain has gone too far.
Yeah.
But I said, "Come, let's do it." And then we went over the spider, placed it down. I then told her how to slide the paper without killing and dragging the spider along, for those that know how to do. And then we picked it up, we took it outside. I said, "Keep hold of the glass let go of the paper, shake the glass. Because now my daughter, she would have just, and just dashed everything out the window. So when she did it, I was like, look, you've done it. And she looked at the glass and the spider wasn't there. And I was like, now you're the spider catcher. High five, let's go wash the glass. Come, let's go have some ice cream. So to me, that was the moment that I could utilize not to pass over this irrational fear. No one did this with me and mice or rats. So when I see them, I'm not on them.
But what it is, you couldn't do that
with a mouse,
a tarantula spider. So exactly. So this is where
what do you mean? So you couldn't catch one?
No,
you wouldn't try to. You wouldn't bring her into the room and tell her to try and talk her down and say whatever. But the point being is, so in regards to the fear, so the fear of spiders, I don't have a fear of spiders, but my logic is that I think a lot of people do have a fear of spiders, but it's an irrational fear. Like if you see one there's some people that would have to leave the room. My thing is, if I see the spider there, I'm blessed. Do what you like over there. If the spider creeps upon my shoulder and I see it there, then you're going to get a reaction. But then when you get the big spiders, the tarantulas, which are the size of my hand, now, if that was in your yard, and are you going to still say to your daughter, oh yeah, let's get a bigger glass, let's get a bowl and get it?
Or are you going to say
I'm going to say it.
You're gonna say it, but you ain't gonna do it.
I don't say I'm going to do it, but I'm going to say it.
So this is back to the men being vulnerable. Men are allowed to be vulnerable. You know what I mean? And I'm not saying I'm not going to do this, I'm not going to do that. Like, if there was a lion outside ripping people apart, we are not going out there.
No, Wiley will.
Bear.
Wiley will take a bear.
Bear, not a lion.
We're not going out there because we know what's going to happen. But we're vulnerable if we go outside. We know we're going to get ripped apart. Like the 100 men versus a gorilla thing. Like, we know the first line is going to get mashed up. The rest of them might survive. Yeah, but it's I don't think everyone talks about the vulnerability and whatnot. Like, it's okay to be vulnerable.
Do you know what it is? It's not even about vulnerability. It's about trust.
I think we're blurring the lines a bit. You know,
to go to the point of what Rain's initial thing was about a man's man and us trusting or us having that vulnerability and being a man's man. You've got to trust. If you go back to what was said before about knowing that if you say something, someone's going to use it against you. Do you trust that you're going to give your vulnerability to somebody not to use against you? Now, the closest people you would probably do that with are probably going to be your parents or your partner. Are you going to say that amongst your peer group? Your vulnerabilities? Now, I don't know.
I mean, I'm not going to tell that. I'm not going to tell that to the man them out there. But the man them in here, then there's a chance that if I'm vulnerable, I'm vulnerable. I'll tell you guys.
You just said he's scared of mice.
Yeah. No. I'm not talking about
how many thousands.
No, but I'm not talking about that sort of vulnerability. I'm talking about maybe your mental health vulnerability or your physical health vulnerability. Are you going to say, you know what? Listen, I was having an issue with I was bleeding, I don't know why I was bleeding. Or are you going to keep that amongst yourself and battle that in your own head, thinking all the 10 million different things you can see on Google, on YouTube, thinking, you know what, it could be this, you know what, I don't want to get the answer from the doctors, so I'm not going to go nowhere. I'm going to battle and deal with it in my own head.
I'll tell
That's the vulnerabilities that I'm talking about.
That's very interesting.
Yeah. Agreed.
And the truth is, most men don't. Most men say, if I close my eyes, it's gone.
Yep.
So I don't need to face up to it. I don't need to deal with it. Do you know what I mean? I'm okay. Do you know what I mean?
Can I ask a question on based off of what like that? And it's funny, just 'cause I thought of it as soon as you said it, was sexually. So when you think to yourself, something downstairs might happen, all right? And I'm like, rah, I don't really want to talk to my partner about it. Well, I might want to talk to my partner about it.
He's talking about erectile dysfunction, people.
Yes. No. I won't actually talk about that.
It could be anything.
So what are you talking about?
It could be that. It could be testicular cancer. It could be anything.
Yeah, but something's gone on downstairs.
Herpes.
Herpes. You know what I mean? Something's gone on downstairs. It's not something I'm going to be telling and saying to myself, let me tell the man, guess what's happened? I got a spot down there. It's not something I come in and I'm going to discuss with anybody probably in the room. It's a case of who do you now turn to and discuss. You don't want to tell your missus because your missus might be saying, if you got herpes, who do you get off of? Because I ain't got herpes. You're like, whoa. Now I got another problem. Like, so you might not tell your missus, you're not necessarily going to go tell your mum. Do you know what I mean? So who do you have that conversation with?
Do you not go to your doctor?
Yeah.
That swings right back to the beginning when we were saying all these list of people going gym and whatever. Nobody mentioned about a doctor.
Well, it's horses for courses, isn't it? Like if there's something, like I'm pregnant, like I always do the balls check. Do you know what I mean? To make sure like there's no lumps and no bumps, and heaven forbid one of the glands are a little bit bigger, I'm like, oh! Immediately, Manscaped. Let me see what I've got. Let me check and make sure. I'll get the mirror and check properly. I don't care. I'm nervous about it. Do you know what I mean?
The same Manscaped thing, do you use it on your face?
No, this is why it's called Manscaped.
So hold on.
So I got the portable thing.
So add
I got
to
the
point you're
portable thing.
making.
So Rain's all there with his pubes, just vibrating on his
question.
neck.
Quick question though. Would we all know what we're looking for?
No.
For me, any abnormalities.
Exactly,
Okay.
It's just abnormality.
Swollen ball bags.
It's a bit like breast cancer,
Or-
isn't it?
yeah.
As in, like, a woman
But
would feel
is there
around.
a change?
If there is a lump or something which has not been there last time you checked, then it's something you need to
But
be concerned about.
isn't that more a thing of that breast cancer has been put out there so much
Well,
in
it's
the
been
world
done well.
You're right,
and
you're
so
right.
well, which I think is brilliant because it's the message is now even men know it.
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
do men all know the thing to look for?
testicular.
But not even just that.
Testicular
It could be
cancer.
anything that we have in those regions. Would we know what we're looking for, and would we know if something is of a concern?
Well, I don't want to switch it, but
Go
I
on.
think it was a good point which Rain jumped on Buddy for about.
Erectile dysfunction.
You say erectile dysfunction. Let's say erectile dysfunction. So, I'm with my partner. Like we're having a nice evening, just about to go upstairs. She's like, "Babe, I'm gonna go in the shower. Meet me upstairs in 5 minutes." You know what time it is. Do you know what I mean? So psychologically,
Wow.
I'm like, yes, man, go get some peace tonight. You start doing a little dance, innit? The little jig or whatever it is. You go make yourself a drink, me, bottle of water all the time. I need a bottle of water for that aftercare. But do you get what I mean? So it's certain things that you know. Get into the bedroom, 12 strokes later, you're done. In your head, you're like, what's going on? What's happening? She's looking at you like, did you come?
Yes.
Yes.
Vulnerability then, I'm like, wait.
I got mine. You better get yours.
But at that point, if you have, as I'm talking as a man in it, if you have come, part of me is like, I don't want to be Dwayne, you know, the dancehall tune.
Yes.
It's part. Wait, let me. Look. All of a sudden,
no, sorry.
But part of me is like, I don't want to be the I got a 2 minute man. It's not that. So in my head, I'm like, okay, I now need to get hard again. Let's just be raw in it. I have to get hard again. How am I going to do that? And she's like, oh, baby, you're going to get hard. And you're like, it's not a choice. It's not a, there's no button I can press. You know what I mean? I can't, you know, you just shut Windows down and then restart it. And then obviously it's not all of that. So
But who do you talk to about this?
But there's a place for it. And then it's the whole, she's like, oh, I'm just gonna go to sleep. Now you're like, okay, babe.
I'm a dick.
You're lying there like, I'm a prick. You know what I mean? You're looking at your dick, you're like, bro, we normally got this. What's going on?
But
do you know what I mean?
But
and then how, as men, do we deal with that? A, the root cause. B, the process. Or is it tomorrow, yo, bud, have you got any of them Vigras? Do you know what I mean? Wiley was sending them in the group. Have you got any? Because I think I need, not necessarily like, yeah, I didn't realize I was stressing out at work and
Right, exactly.
there was
Course, yeah.
this going on, and do you know what I mean? The police pulled me over because my tires were bald. So now all of these things are going on in the background, and now it's affecting your male performance. Do you get what I mean? So I'm just gonna summarize now. So A, if we recognize it, how do we deal with it? And B, where do you channel to vent the issue and the problem?
Swings right back round to what I said about the mental affects the physical earlier, and about how it may bring you down because you may feel like, oh my God, am I less of a man now? You might think, do you know what I mean? Like it might bring up so much other stresses from that one in 100 incidents. Because you might think, right, if our next time is going to be the same,
let me not do.
Am I gonna be?
And then the next time you have sex, let me not do that again.
Yeah, am I going to be like, am I going to be back to normal? Is it going to happen again? Like,
That's true.
like That's the next level of stress again.
I think you're thinking like me. What are you gonna say?
No, I just think, to be fair, I don't care. I mean, you're saying that. I mean, I got mine. I mean,
No, so I wouldn't go that far.
No, but I'm saying
mad.
No, but I'm saying you lot are going so deep in it. If again, I'm very open in my relationship where I'm able to stand and say, if that was the case, then I'll say to Safra, I just came. I mean, it was great.
Right, so I'll change it. So I think, like, again, I'm with you in that. If you are a 1 minute man and that happens as a one, whatever. But if the situation becomes difficult,
if you're not a 1 minute man,
no, forget that. It's that if you couldn't get it up in the first place,
That's the problem. There you go.
exactly. Now take out again. If you was able to sustain for a little piece and you got your thing, boom, fine, you done your thing. But if you couldn't get it there in the first, that is the big issue. Now that's when you start thinking about the Viagras. Am I less of a man and blah blah blah. At the end of the day, you've done a job when you've done your 12 strokes. But if you can't get it to get the half a stroke,
do your 12 strokes a little bit slower. I don't know, bro. One, two. That's the point.
That's a really no, bro. I have to be honest. There are people that are struggling with this. I think that's a really ignorant way of looking at it, because if you're in that position and you don't know what to do, you can't turn around and say, "I got mine. What about yours?" Because then your missus is now like, "You can't satisfy me." Now, you're then living with, what is she going to do about it?
There's other
Is
ways.
she now going to go and fight? No, bruv. You live in your fantasy land.
She's going to find
She going to go find the other guy.
Long John Harry.
Oh, my ex we used to have sex for an hour straight. No water. No water.
my feelings.
You know what I mean? Really hurt my feelings. But this is the reality that some people are facing. You know, like, I'd rather not have sex because I don't want to then have sex, come quick, and now you're just there fuming, looking. Nah, I mean,
there's other ways, bro. The intimacy's not there.
You know
saying
what?
it.
I tell you what. I want to have this podcast without you there.
No.
I need a balance where you can talk about this and say, "Oh, just there are other ways. There are other ways." Just because if the problem, let me finish, bro. Because if the problem is me right now and I'm going through something that's affecting my sexual performance, turn around saying there's other ways still doesn't fix my sexual performance. Do you get what I'm saying?
Pardon my ignorance then. So let's be brutal, being crass, is coming quickly a result of stress?
It could be.
I don't know
You
about
could be
that.
battling. No, you could be battling with something, and in the back of your mind, you're like, "Don't come, don't come." Like we've been arguing, "Don't come, don't come." Let me give her the night of her life. 5 shots later, you bust, and she's like, "Well, is that it?"
I'd say it's over arousal.
So all of a sudden, you're
Right, just to answer the question, stress can be a significant contributing factor to premature
flipping men.
ejaculation.
Thank you.
Significant.
Thank you.
Because
And you're going to
ultimately-
turn and say, just do it slower.
Psychological factors like
We're older than you.
anxiety, relationship problems, and performance anxiety can all play a role.
Of course.
So if you're thinking about it,
Yeah.
it's going to
And
play
stressing
more of
about
a
it,
role
it may help.
because you're not
It may
stressing. You're not stressing
enhance.
even more.
Yeah.
I mean,
So, but I mean that's talking about the aspect of premature ejaculation, but
Not
to the point
getting
of what
erectile
Rainman
dysfunction
of
in the
not
first
even
place.
having it in the first place.
Right, of course.
That's a whole different thing.
And but again, stress and all that stuff can affect that as well.
No, stress is a major factor. But then that also comes down to what you're eating. Did you eat a steak? You know what I mean? Have you been eating fatty foods throughout the week?
McDonald's.
Are you having the right salts? You know what I mean? All that kind of stuff in your diet. The right magnesium, vitamin D and all them kind of sitting there. But I personally think, and this is coming from a point of ignorance and Wiley just corrected about the whole stresses. I'm not saying just go slower, but there is an element. If you normally are able to perform at a level, that performance is still within you. You might have a slip up. So, has no one had a slip up? Exactly. And then the next time,
But if what I'm saying is, if you're sustainably having this slip up,
that's a mad nut. Yeah.
so then you're like, and like if like to satisfy your woman, women and men, we come differently, we orgasm differently. So if for your woman to reach that, she's gonna need 7 minutes
Consistent.
of consistent sex before she gets to her position, her place. This is. I'm not saying it's mathematical, but
No.
7 minutes
That's something I like that,
is her. After 7 minutes, she's eyes are rolling back, legs are shaking, toes are curling, all sorts. Do you know what I mean? So if you're not getting there, then you know you're not satisfying her.
Yeah.
Saying I'm just going to do it in another way doesn't fix the problem. It may fix today's problem, but now you're going to have the performance anxiety. So next time it comes up, then you're like, oh, say if it happens
I got a
again.
headache.
So now you're making excuses. Yeah, you're the one that's saying,
I got a headache, babe.
oh, yeah, I'm coming. But you go and get started.
So, as a roundup on that particular point, before we go into round up the whole thing, what percentage of men do you think go to the doctors about things going sexually? And I don't mean like anything else, but sexually, things happening downstairs. What percentage do you think goes to the doctors?
I'm gonna say
23%.
65%.
Tongo?
23%.
Citrus?
40%.
I was gonna say about 40.
So 33% of men with those problems go to the doctors. So that's a staggering 67% of men do not go because they don't want to talk about it, or they don't want to have the
With the problem, obviously,
This is all with the problem. So don't want to talk about things because of the
embarrassing,
stigma. Yeah, exactly. The embarrassment, the stigma of it all, which comes down to when you know that's on a thing like that. Now, when you're talking about other things to do with health, whether it be mental health or physical health, the number of men that go doctors is even smaller. It's mad. Like there's a real stigma with these sorts of things. So we may joke aside and say, yeah, you know what, we'll try things differently. But ultimately, the men that are in those positions are not going to the doctors because they don't want to talk about it because they're fearful of it.
Do you know what?
Buddy.
One of the problems I believe is, and as much as we having banter in here and we have banter outside of here, but it's like, I think sometimes as much as it's the banter and it's the things like, oh yeah, my feelings are getting hurt. Do you know what I mean? It's like, right, why is he going to say that? Oh, what? You know what I mean, why is he so weak? Da, da, da. And when you start putting things like that, it stops people from saying to themselves, you know what, I want to talk about this. I want to come to you guys and say, you know what, the other day I was in the bedroom and it only lasted a minute. Do you know what I mean? And I'm like, you look like, right, only a minute. Even if you're not saying it to my face, I know afterwards the phone call, as soon as I've left, it's gonna be like, yo, buddy was there for 1 minute, bro. Like,
but in regards to that and the mandem, if someone's if in the mandem's chat,
the chat
I only lasted 1 minute, what's your immediate thought?
I'll be like, are you all right, bro?
I'm gonna
No,
DM.
like,
no,
I'm
I
not
would
gonna
be.
say it in a group. I'm gonna DM them. And I'm gonna
definitely not
advise
gonna
them
say
what they should do.
I'll
Go
contact
to the
them
doctors.
directly.
My first one will be, you need to go to the doctors.
I would hope that there's people being sensible like that. And to be fair, and I'll be very honest with the mandem in the group, there are a lot of sensible people that wouldn't make such a big joke about it. But I suppose, depending on how it was delivered, all right, depending on who it is, like there's like, I'll use one of them in the group.
Without naming the names?
No, I'll name his name. It's fine. If GBH did it, all right, we'd probably make jokes out of it because we say, oh yeah, because he's a strong character. If Citrus did it, we might even be someone to say, oh yeah, let's make jokes out of it because we feel like he's a strong character. Not knowing, remember I was saying earlier on, you're putting on this brave face to turn and say, yeah, I'm the mask, I'm the strong person. Haha, Citrus can take it. It's fine. GBH can take it. It's fine. And then you realise to yourself, he's gone back and he's like, I can't believe they're still over. And he's upset about his thing. So this is why it's like... Literally, innit? But it's like, we put these masks on and then maybe it's not right to put the mask on. Just say what you're feeling. This is why I don't mind, for one, to say, you know what, I feel this way. This is what I'm going to expose. And I'll expose it, good or bad. You like it, don't like it. And I'm happy that I've got the group of friends I have got to turn and say to myself, you know, I can say these things and know to myself, you might say, oh, buddy's a bit emotional, buddy's this, but I've told you how I feel. So at least you know. So I'm not going to get the backlash, or I can feel open enough to tell you, lot, if I am a 1 minute man, I've told you, lot, you know what I mean? You lot would know, I'm struggling, help me. Do you know what I mean? So that's what I would say. Go on,
Tongo.
So on the subject of hiding things from people or keeping it to yourselves, whatever, what percentage do you think it is that men hide their mental health issues from their partners?
From their partners? I'd say about
85.
I'm gonna say about 60%.
How much?
I'm gonna say about 60%. I think it's a high percentage.
Ren?
85, sorry.
I said 80.
All right, so I'm going to go 90 then.
37%
Wow.
admit to hiding mental health issues from their partners.
Wow. Which is still a high number.
Still a high number.
Still a high
That's
number.
a high
Admit.
number.
Admit
So,
to hiding the issue.
Admit to hiding the issue.
So
they don't even tell their partners still.
That they
So
go through stuff.
70,
Yeah.
So 63.
Yeah. But I suppose it depends on, as we said earlier, innit, how you're delivering that, you're giving that information. This has been a really, you know what, it's been such a interesting subject At some stage, we'll probably not having to do a part 2. But just for those that are watching, make sure you tune in for the next podcast. The next podcast is going to be accountability. And hopefully Sirelli will be around to give us the whole info about accountability, because he did have a lot to say about it. So hopefully that'll be the case. But just as a quick roundup around the room, generally, what are your final things you would say? Physical health, mental health. And I'll start off with Citrus.
Okay, so I'm going to choose, because I think a lot of us are going to pick mental health. So I'm going to pick physical health. And I'm going to say, do not be afraid to explore your body. Observe the changes, observe your age and your routine, your sleep patterns. And if there's anything that changes or you feel a little twinge here or there, don't ignore it. It's your body. Like someone said to me before, pain is your body's smoke alarm. Do not ignore the smoke alarm, because eventually there'll be a fire.
That's a very good one.
Pin that.
I was the person that said it.
No, you didn't.
That's me.
Goodness me. Buddy.
I mean, I've said this several times, so I've told you I won't stray from it. Talk. And I'd always say to everybody, always be open and talk to everybody that you need to talk to. Don't be afraid to be just open and honest, because that's the best way for mental health to get through. If I'm struggling with anything, I'll always tell and say to someone, anybody who listen, close people to me mainly, talk to me. Yeah, this is what's going on. I'm upset. I'm unhappy about this. And I'm not saying that they have the answers to all your problems, but sometimes it's just best to just talk. And sometimes I've been on the phone to probably each and every one of you lot in the room, and I've probably spoken certain times and then thought, that's a great idea. You lot didn't even say a word. It's like, thanks for listening. And I've come off the phone and thought, that was great by myself, because I've now spoken about it, because I've said whatever it is that I needed to say. But when you speak it out, sometimes you hear it. Sometimes it might even be just you've made a passing comment and it's made sense to me. And like, that makes sense to me. I'm going to do that. It's brilliant to have friends, and it's brilliant to be able to talk to everybody and not hide everything and your emotions and your feelings, you know what I mean? So despite anybody trying to call you emotional or say that you're not thick enough skinned and, do you know what I mean, play you down, just be man enough. Being man enough for me is to say to yourself, you know what, I'm telling you how I feel, and I'm telling you what my emotions are, whether it be my partner, my parents, or my friends.
Thank you, buddy. Tongo.
I would say try and find yourself a health buddy, in the sense of no pun intended. No pun intended. As in someone that will, like, you can talk to about your health, you can check up with, they will check on you to make sure that your health's good. So that will be maybe, there might be 2 different people, because, you know, like people have gym buddies. You might have someone that's like maybe your gym buddy who deals with that physical aspect. You must have a confidant that would deal with the confidant could be a counsellor. It could be a therapist. It could be your doctor. It could be Jill at the bus stop. It could be anybody. But try and get yourselves someone or some people that are your like health buddies.
Thank you, Tongo. Rainman.
I've said it before on another podcast. You need to have what I call, well, it was a guy called Daniel Faraday who said it. This is a concept of having a constants are what bring you through or gives you a motivation to do something. So some people have their children, some people might have that they play in a football team, they might, I don't know, collect stamps. Like, if you have a constant, it takes you away from the stresses and the anxieties that you may have. You will return to them, but you need to have somewhere where you go to do something. Like one of our friends, he's found walking. He goes on walks. He's found a constant. Like, he's been through a very tough time, going through a lot, and he's found that works for him. As much as he might do this and do that, and he might smile up and bust jokes, that's where he finds a little bit of inner peace. So everybody has them. Like, if you think about it, you could pull out 1, 2, or even 3. Just work with one of those, and it will help. It's not going to cure it, but it will help.
So is that like having a release, for want of a better word?
It could be a release. It could be that you like playing Street Fighter 2. Set
Yes,
aside
I
an
do.
hour to do that, you know what I mean? Or it could be that you want to spend time with your mum, or you want to cook. You know what I mean? It's a constant. But you have to know what yours are. Everybody's are different.
Thank you, Rain. don't forget to follow.
No. What's yours,
mine,
brother?
Mine.
This man.
Mine is very simple, you know. Go see your doctor. That's my main thing, really. I don't think we do enough of that as men. Forget about communities as men. I don't think we go to a doctor enough. We will more likely ride it out. Like, I remember years ago, I learned that if someone's got high cholesterol, and this is just from someone telling me, not even a doctor, that they will have a dark ring around their eye, around their not their pupil, you know, the iris, is it?
Yeah.
Yeah, they'll have a dark ring. Now, I never knew that. So I'm always checking myself to see if that's a telltale sign in me. But I'm also telling people when I see it, go to your doctor because that might mean you got high cholesterol. You may not have it, but for the fact of the matter that I can see it and I'm aware of it, I try and spread that information. But I ultimately say to people, go to your doctors. Your doctors are trained to be able to work out and see certain things that you may not feel comfortable talking about. But if we don't go to our doctors enough, by the time we go, it may be too late. So that's my key thing, would be to say, go to the doctors. But I was saying we have got an Instagram page. We have a YouTube channel. Make sure you subscribe to both. We now have a WhatsApp channel as well. We are also on TikTok. We're everywhere. The movement is growing, and as long as it keeps growing and you keep following, we will all grow together. But this has been the eMpTy podcast, and if the glass ain't half full even.
Wow.
It's empty.
Yeah, mate.
Wiley messed it up.
Wiley, I can't believe it. You, Wiley.
Of all people,
We'll be having a long chat about this, my friend.
I'm under a lot of stress. Don't hurt my feelings. But yeah, man, it's been a good one. But I'm looking forward to next week's one.
Yeah.